Well, we've been lucky enough to be here in Dublin, Ireland since just Friday morning, but the sense of anticipation in this city for the first ever regular season NFL game with just under half an hour till kickoff is absolutely palpable. The seats are beginning to fill up. The Pittsburgh Steelers, with their vaunted Irish history, are here en masse. I think it's the most travelling Americans to ever attend an international series game in Europe, at a massive 30% of today's tickets sold in North America, and it's shown as the city has been absolutely packed to the brim with every Steelers jersey, every kind of jersey from all around the NFL you could possibly imagine. Every pub, and yes, in Dublin there are a lot of them, have been packed to the rafters, and all of them are talking about this game. Croke Park will see over 70,000 fans packed in here today. The atmosphere is going to be absolutely electric. I'm Gavin. I'll be joined on the call momentarily by NFL Daily's Gregg Rosenthal and Simon Clancy. But first, let's get the very latest odds ahead of the game with William Hill. And Ben Barrett joins us from William Hill. Ben, as we're about to get underway here in Dublin, Ireland, what are the odds makers saying?
Yeah, good afternoon. The Minnesota Vikings have a great record in international fixtures, particularly in the regular league season, and they're 8-11 to continue that with a win here. The Steelers, effectively the home team, they're 11-10 to get the win. If you're going to be playing the handicap betting, the spread betting, if you like, you're going to be looking at around about minus 3.5 give for the Minnesota Vikings. It's 11-10 for the Vikings to win by minus 3.5 points. You can go all the way up to minus 12.5 points if you fancy one team or the other. In terms of match points, specifically, you've got to go above.
FedEx, the official delivery company of the NFL, is proud to announce the launch of a new direct cargo flight from Dublin to Indianapolis.
5 points, that's 5-2 in the betting. In terms of touchdown scorers, DK Metcalf is odds on to score at any time. He's 9-1 to score the first touchdown of the game for the hosts. But to the away side, Jordan Mason's got a couple in a heavy win over the Bears last week. He's 11-20 to find the end zone at any point, 14-5 to score 2 or more, like he did in that encounter with the Bears. Plenty of markets, plenty of specials. We're hoping for points and plenty of entertainment at Croke Park.
Thank you so much, Ben. Those were the very latest odds with William Hill, 18 plus. Gamble responsibly, begambleaware.org. It's a beautiful day in Dublin, Ireland. After a rainy Saturday, the sun's come out on Sunday. The drum line is ready to entertain these home crowds. The music is blaring and the fans are beginning to pack the stands. Don't forget, it's 14 hours of NFL action on talkSPORT 2 today. We start here at Croke Park as the Steelers face the Vikings. Then from 6 p.m, Ben Isaacs and Tom Corbett will host a special Red Zone show, keeping you across every score in the 6 p.m. slate, including that massive Bucs-Eagles game. And we're not finished there. The 49ers take on the Jacksonville Jaguars from 9:05 on talkSPORT 2, before on Sunday Night Football, it's the Green Bay Packers going to Dallas to face the Cowboys. Micah Parsons back in Jerry World in the early hours of the morning with Ollie Hunter. I'm delighted to say alongside me a couple of fellow travelling NFL veterans who are experiencing the NFL here in Ireland for the first time. First of all, NFL Daily's Gregg Rosenthal. How are you doing, sir?
I am doing as well as I possibly can be. I walked to this stadium today. The energy is crazy. And then I got a little more energy because I just walked by Bill Murray and Jason Kelsey on the field.
An unbelievable combination. I saw Colleen Wolfe, who you're probably hearing over the PA right now, who's doing the pitch side coverage. And she saw us stood by pitch side, ran over to us, gave us a wave, and just came over and went, "Have you seen Bill Murray anywhere?" I'm like, "Sorry, Colleen, what do you mean, the Bill Murray?" It's like, "Yeah, he's here somewhere." I'm like, fantastic. So imagine we'll see him on the big screen coming up shortly. Simon Clancy is with us as well. Simon, how are you doing?
I'm very well, Will. I've got Irish family, and they have no interest in American football whatsoever, but they have been captivated by what's been happening in the city over the last 48, 72 hours. And if you just walk around the bars, the streets, the throng, the noise, the people in their jerseys, everybody, it's fantastic to see it here. The stadium is a great backdrop.
I mean, Greg, you've been over and you've experienced the game in London, obviously covered the game in the US for so long, but when you see the nature of the takeover of this city, when you see just how it is in every nook and cranny of Dublin streets, like, how impressed have you been with what you've seen over the last 2 days?
It reminds me of a Super Bowl in New Orleans specifically, which is not the biggest American city, where you feel like the NFL has come taken over, and we've done some events this week, and the gratitude and the excitement, especially of the long-time Irish fans who maybe never saw this day was coming, and now it's here.
And look, Simon, yeah, I mentioned it when we were chatting with the guys over on talkSPORT. I was fortunate enough to be in Munich for that first game there, and that was a fan base who had watched the English have games for 17 years while having a huge fan base of their own. Here in Ireland, they have waited and they have watched and they have fervored over this for so long. And look, we're going to be joined a little bit later on by man of the moment, Michael McQuaid, who is just, you know, Dublin's, well, Belfast actually, answer to Neil Reynolds, apparently, according to the man next to me. And you know, Henry's going to join us. And just when you talk to the Irish who are here, they've been over and watched every game in London. They've been over to Germany. They've been over to the States for games. They feel very differently about the fact it's now in their city and in their country.
It's Ireland's time, Will. It's time to have a game here. The fan base is huge, and it has been historically for decades. This stadium is fantastic, 80+ thousand here. And you mentioned some of the people, Michael McQuaid, but all of the people that have worked behind the scenes tirelessly to get this game here, and this is their day, this is their Christmas. I mean, I spoke to McQuaid yesterday and he was like, this is Christmas Eve for me, and today is his Christmas day, and he's about to unwrap his presents. And look, we'll talk a bit about the game itself coming up shortly, but I think what's been really obvious has been that Steelers connection with Ireland. You know, Dan Rooney, you go back to Art Rooney coming over from Ireland, his father winning this team in a card game in 1933. The fact that they have this huge Irish heritage, him being the ambassador under Obama here, Dan Rooney, and then the family that have taken over now. All of the players, when we went to practice on Friday, had their names translated into Irish on the back of their shirts, the GAA, as we're being encouraged to bring the energy. And we're getting a marching band giving us a rendition on the field as well, like the Artane band getting the fans going here. That connection has been so clear all week, and it feels like it's here to stay.
That's why I feel bad that I picked the Vikings, not to spoil that. Sometimes in football, there's more than just the game that decides these games, and often Mike Tomlin is on the sidelines. They can lose the yardage by 180 every single week, and they find a way to win, and you do feel a little extra for the Steelers. I've been to a lot of the London games, and I don't think there's been one game that's as one-sided with this many team fans as this game for the Steelers.
Actually, I will say one that felt a little bit that way recently. Aaron Rodgers in his press conference on Friday talked about how he wasn't sure the fans still knew when to cheer and when to not. And I felt going, Aaron, that's because there were a lot of Vikings fans in the stands at Tottenham and not a lot of Jets fans. They were cheering at the right time, it just wasn't for you, buddy, I'm afraid. That was the problem. Look, as the crowd is starting to get hyped up, let's hear from inside the Vikings camp ahead of kickoff. On Friday, I sat down with wide receiver Adam Thielen to get his thoughts ahead of the game, and particularly the return of his teammate Jordan Addison after a 3-game suspension. Speaking with me on Friday, and don't forget you can see that full interview on the talkSPORT USA YouTube channel for plenty of reaction, exclusive big stories from the weekend, and plenty more. Brian T. Smith and myself will be reflecting in the action on Monday, of course, as part of the weekly NFL Rundown show. Also on there, my conversation with Steelers centre Zach Fraser. We had Ryan Grant on this week, the former Packers running back who was here in the city, just having a good time with Packers fans, it seemed. But we talked a bit about Josh Jacobs and Jordan Love, and that was a really fun conversation. So if you're an NFL fan, definitely go and check out talkSPORT USA. You can see it here now, the Steelers drumline making their way out onto the field. Half of them dressed in almost like a kilt, but with a Viking-themed top on. The crowd is probably now about 60-70% full. The energy is really starting to build in the stadium. The hill is filling up off to our left-hand side. And we'll be back shortly for live and exclusive commentary of the Minnesota Vikings against the Pittsburgh Steelers, the first ever NFL game here in Ireland, live on talkSPORT 2. Back with NFL Live on talkSPORT 2. The Steelers drumline on the NFL logo at the 50-yard line, smack bang in front of us as we wait for the national anthems of America and, of course, of Ireland as well. We'll have the teams coming out onto the field momentarily. I can see a giant American flag off to my right-hand side, and now a tricolour off to my left-hand side, making their way out onto the field. Fans waving their terrible towels in time with the marching band heading their way off now. Will Gavin bringing you live commentary here at Croke Park, Ireland, for the Vikings Steelers first ever NFL game here in Dublin on the island of Ireland. Let's get into the game before we get to the anthems, guys. Get some thoughts on this. Gregg, all right, Simon first. Gregg's picking the Vikings. The kind of two units that are going head to head that intrigues me most, maybe concerns me most, is that Brian Flores Vikings defense going up against that Steelers offensive line and Aaron Rodgers.
Yeah, I mean, to me it's an identity game, Will. Which of these two teams is going to turn up and what's their identity? We're almost a quarter of the way through the season. I don't have an idea of what these two teams are yet, you know. The Vikings, are we going to get the team that's played one good quarter in its first 8 and then blew up against the Bengals last week, albeit the Joe Burrow-less Bengals? And for the Steelers, you know, it's a team historically, Mike Tomlin teams, that you expect to run the ball and play great against the run, and they're not doing either. And I think for Aaron Rodgers today, I also would pick the Vikings. I think for Aaron Rodgers today, going up against the Brian Flores defense is absolutely not what you want. He played last year against Flores, and he struggled all day. 3 interceptions, 1 return for a touchdown. And I just think what Flo is doing, and certainly what he did last week and how he confused the Bengals, I think the Steelers could be in for a long afternoon, especially with their struggles on the offensive line.
Yeah, Aaron Rodgers is dead last in the NFL in completion percentage under pressure. You get any heat near him, and he either panics or he gives up on the play. Simon, you said you don't know what to think of these teams. I agree with you in terms of the Steelers overall. I agree with you with the Carson Wentz offense, but this one unit that I trust, and I have a feeling you agree, is this Brian Flores defense. Josh Metellus, who they just gave a big extension to, the safety, said he feels like they've reached the master's level of being inside this Brian Flores defense. It is one of the most unique and talented and cohesive defenses I think we've seen in the last decade.
So Aaron Rodgers is number 1 in the NFL in passer rating, number 1 in the NFL in touchdown to interception rating when his ball is going under 10 air yards. Anytime it goes over 10 air yards, his 3 touchdowns to 3 interceptions, his passer rating halves, and his completion percentage drops to below 37%. So it's the only way he's ever going to win this game is dink and dunk and screens and behind the line of scrimmage stuff and try and do something to fool Brian Flores.
Leading receiver on the team is the running back, Jalen Warren. That tells you all you need to know when you've got DK Metcalf out receiver. Quarterbacks are 1 and 18 on 3rd and long against the Flores defense this season, which I think is huge. And look, I don't think we've ever seen an NFL defense that disguises as well as they do. They go from an all-out blitz look to a man cover look to tamper 2 to playing what looks like quarters on one side to cover 2 on the other. What he's able to do and how he's able to confuse them is one thing, but just how well they work in unison together, everybody knowing their jobs down to a T, is what makes this defense tick.
As we see some local GAA players coming out onto the field, the drumline down to our left-hand side, the hype videos on the big screen, seeing some of the absolute Steelers legends down the years. And you know what Brett Kiesel said to us on Friday? You talked about that running game. Let's talk just a little bit about the Steelers defense, because when I asked him about it, he said to me, it used to be a cardinal sin to run on the Pittsburgh Steelers, and now I see them giving up yards and touchdowns, and that's where they've got to get better. I think they've probably got to get better across the board, but they need to stop Jordan Mason in that run game today.
And they were better relatively last week against the Patriots, at least in terms of stopping the run. They still gave up some big plays in the secondary, but you mentioned Jordan Mason. The running back health is a big deal in this game. No Aaron Jones for the Vikings. And then we got surprising news this morning that Jalen Warren will not be active for the Steelers because of a knee injury. Losing Aaron Jones certainly hurts on 3rd down, but I don't know what you think, Simon. I love the way Jordan Mason runs. He's a no-nonsense guy who's going to get you some extra yards. I think Kevin O'Connell is very confident in him as a starting running back.
Can we just talk about that noise from inside this stadium as the Vikings led out onto the field by their pass rush? Get absolute Jonathan Grenard leading that team out and down to the far end zone, and the boos in here was absolutely deafening for that Vikings team. Calvin Austin on the big screen, Patrick Wilson on the big screen, Steelers hits TJ Watt, James Harrison screaming game day at everyone. The hype is real for the Steelers fans in here. A huge banner on the far side of Steelers Island is beginning to unfurl on the far stand from us here in the Hogan stand, and oh my words.
My watch is buzzing, saying the environment is extremely loud. And I know Greg was talking to you there, I can barely hear, but I agree. The Jordan Mason trade, I think, was a really good one. I think he's just exactly what you need, that hammer to run through the tackles.
Absolutely unreal. Terrible towels being flung around people's heads all around us. The countdown beginning. The here we go from James Harrison into the screen. And I don't know about you guys, the hairs on the back of my neck, the goosebumps are going. This feels like a special, special moment.
I am ready to go play right now. I'm 5'5", 145. Put me in, coach.
You were at the hurling the other day. I reckon you could get involved in that.
That was an amazing sport. That's for another show, but those guys are tough. Not as tough as some of these guys out here.
He's got third down back written all over him, Will, I think. An instant Jalen Warren replacement. I was going to say that because I thought the Steelers were going to come out. I think the one thing that the Steelers do have in their favour is that pass rush, and they have an elite pass rusher, and I don't mean TJ Watt. I think Nick Herbig is developing into one of the top 5 or 6 pass rushers. He is so twitched up. His first step is absolutely electric. And I think if they can pressure Christian Darrisaw and Brian O'Neill, and they can get pressure on Carson Wentz, force it into mistakes, because Kevin O'Connor wants him to play mistake-free football. He doesn't want him throwing the ball all around the yard. What he wants is safe. Here come the Steelers.
And it is TJ Watt leading those players out alongside the fellow members of that defensive front. Joey Porter Jr. is out there looking like he may well play today. Offensive lineman. And then we're getting introduced to some of the biggest names on the team. Derek Harmon, Keanu Benton, Peyton Wilson, who we spoke to, and you can hear on the talkSPORT USA YouTube channel. There is Nick Herbig, the man that was being discussed just then. The starting defense making their way out, and there has been so much smoke, so many fireworks go off that this pitch is absolutely covered in a thick London-esque fog, not like we'd expect from Dublin. Oh boys, oh boys.
The Steelers' defense, Will, against the run has been really poor. The defensive line, guys like Keanu Benton struggled. The surprise for me is how badly Peyton Wilson, their linebackers, played against the run. And I think it's almost getting to the point now where he's just need to be a third down pass coverage linebacker.
That noise for TJ Watt is absolutely incredible. And Cam Hayward, Steelers legend, 36 years old, his 15th year in the league, a deserving final player to come out. But another, for me, example of if he sets back and falls back to being average, this pass rush, this defense struggles, and they're just not getting enough from those stars at the moment, and the scheme doesn't do enough to help them out when they're not getting enough from the stars.
Yeah, they are a team that traditionally does get better throughout the course of the season, but I have been surprised for such a veteran team how there's been a breakdown in communication over the last few weeks. Now, this Vikings offense still has a lot to prove. Donovan Jackson, their rookie guard, banged up for this game. They're just getting back their starting left tackle, Christian Darrisaw. Hopefully he plays a full complement of snaps. This has not been a Vikings offense that has needed or has produced that much, and last week they didn't really need to produce that much. So this could be a get-right game for these Steelers defensive players.
I thought some of those communication issues were solved a little bit more last week with Jabril Peppers, who did such a good job for the Patriots of being that sort of communicative glue on the back end. Deshaun Elliott back today as well. Chuck Clark, they've got veteran guys back there. Jalen Ramsey, obviously, Dwight Thornhill's won a Super Bowl. That's very important in terms of just having veteran guys on the back end.
Gentlemen, good afternoon.
Right, let's throw down and get the coin toss.
This historic game in Dublin, Ireland. For today's coin, Dublin represents heads. The shield represents tails. I need your option, heads or tails. For our first toss in Ireland, you have called heads. The call is heads. It is heads. You've won the toss. You have deferred. Minnesota has won the toss and has opted to defer. I assume you want to receive. In which direction do you kick? All right, Pittsburgh will receive. Good luck, gentlemen.
So it will be Aaron Rodgers on the offense, first out onto the field against that Brian Flores defense. And the Vikings have alleged to kick towards the hill to kick the game off that exposed end of the stadium. Don't know if there's any thought around that, but very well could be. Now for the national anthems.
21st Theater Sustainment Command and 18th Military Police Brigade.
Ladies and gentlemen, to sing the national anthem of the United States of America,
Please welcome country
a
singer
songwriter from Louisiana and living in Westmeath, Ireland.
for the last 30 years, Robert Mazzell. Oh, say, can you see my daughter Eli was so proudly weaving at the twilight's last gleam, who brought stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight. Oh, the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streamed, and the rockets red glare, the bombers singing there, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say does that star-spangled banner yet wave? Oh, the land of the free and the home of the brave.
Rendition of the American national anthem, the Star Spangled Banner, and up next, band singer Lyra to sing the Irish national anthem, Alran Naveen.
Please welcome Irish singer-songwriter Lyra.
And plumes of smoke go up from the stand opposite us in the green, white and orange of the tricolour. What an astounding rendition of Alran Naveen from Irish singer-songwriter Lyra. And now it is game time. The Pittsburgh Steelers on the sideline in front of us look pumped and ready. We heard Mike Tomlin giving his breakdown to them on Friday in practice, and I was ready to run through a brick wall, but it'll be worse than a brick wall they're going to have to run through today with this Brian Flores Minnesota Vikings defense. 28 years ago, the Pittsburgh Steelers, hold on, let's see, Ben Roethlisberger is in the house, Jerome Bettis is in the house. They are waving those terrible towels and getting the crowd going. Howdy Clifford, Gaelic football star, alongside them. Irish football legend Stephanie Roche-Chambler there as well. And after those astonishing national anthems, the towels in the air, the Vikings defense bouncing on the sidelines opposite us, ready to come out for the kickoff. 28 years ago, the Cordell Stewart-led Pittsburgh Steelers in this very stadium, in front of just 25,000 people, beat the Chicago Bears in a World Bowl game pre-season 30-17. For all of those years, the Dubliners have watched London, Berlin, Frankfurt, Rio next year, Sao Paulo, Mexico City, Toronto, all of these other world cities get their crack at international football. And as we get ready to kick this game off, those 28 long years will feel very, very short, because in a phrase coined locally here in Dublin, Ireland, good things come to those who wait. We get lined up, ready. Oh, my voice is going, Greg, already. We haven't even started. This is terrible news for the rest of the broadcasters. Will Rijkaard chips a little ball down towards the 10-yard line. Back to return for the Pittsburgh Steelers, out to the left-hand side. Making a man miss, getting down to the 35, out to the 36-yard line, the Pittsburgh Steelers. That's where this offense will start from. And Gregg Rosenthal, for the first time today, we get to see this Vikings defense.
I cannot wait to see. So if you are a dork like us and you got the TV on and you're listening to the radio, just watch all the things that Brian Flores does before the snap and then how it changes after the snap.
We had some time, as I said, with Zach Fraser earlier this week and talked to him about those protections as they come out and line up for the first time. Darnell Wright on the end of the line to last tight end. Two receivers to the right, one receiver left. A running back in alongside Rodgers. In the backfield is Ken Gainwell. And immediately Rodgers taken down at the 25-line, opening snap of the game, and he is already on the ground. Jalen Redmond bursting through for the sack, Simon Clancy.
Well, they mugged up at the line of scrimmage. They stepped off, they changed positions. It looked like they were going to come on a blitz. A couple of guys dropped off. They dropped into man coverage on one side, cover two on the other, and Rodgers gets sacked. This is the plan. This is the Flores plan.
I'm a believer in omens. That's a bad omen.
Jalen Redmond's first sack, second sack of the season, an 8-yard loss for the opening game. Calvin Austin goes almost from right to left. He's stacked up, two receivers to the left, heavy set line to the right. Rodgers fakes the handoff to Gainwell, then checks it down to him around the 28-yard line, outside the numbers. He gets back towards the line of scrimmage, maybe 2 yards short, but this is going to be a 3rd and 12 with the ball about the 34-yard line.
Good open field tackle there. The Steelers have gotten so much of their offense on the screen game and short passes. If the Vikings can do what they did there, get a man down in the open field, they're going to be all right.
Steelers break the huddle. Rodgers has to recall the play again. He's got three receivers to the right, including a tight end tight to the line. An next receiver to his left. One running back alongside him. Plenty of noise in the stadium, surprisingly, considering it seems Steelers heady. In the gun. Stomps his leg, gets the ball, bit of a low snap. Gainwell stays in. He has to evade pressure. Out to the right. Little toss to down the right and doesn't even get back to the original line of scrimmage. Johnny Smith, on the catch. And it will finish 4th and 12, the opening drive of the game, -2 yards for the Pittsburgh Steelers.
I think Aaron Rodgers and Arthur Smith got exactly what they wanted pre-snap on that. They had DK Metcalf one-on-one on the outside. As soon as the snap happened, Harrison Smith dropped off, 2-man over the top. Aaron Rodgers had nowhere else to go.
Miles Price, the rookie, back to return this punt around the 15-yard line. Ball up in the air from Corliss Waitman. He has to step back to the 12, takes it and will bring it out in between the numbers to the left, makes a man miss, gets out to about the 26-yard line, but a good open field tackle brings him down, and the Minnesota Vikings will start this drive from around the 24-yard line. Ben Skowronek in on special teams, making the tackle. So Carson Wentz into the game for the first time today. Last week he could lean on those defensive touchdowns, he could lean on the run game, he could lean on keeping things very simple. I wonder if they will try and open this game up a little bit this afternoon. 12:49 left in this first quarter. 1st and 10, the Minnesota Vikings. They have spotted the ball on the 26-yard line in the end as the Vikings break the huddle. Wentz in empty. Heavy line, 3 receivers right, 2 left, and 3-1 formation. Wentz will go to that right-hand side and we'll find Justin Jefferson for the opening catch of the game for the Vikings. Out to a 31-yard line. Nice, simple 5-yard completion, and it'll be 2nd and 5.
Got a chance to get on the field before the game, and watching Justin Jefferson in those pregame warm-ups where he is practicing those one-handed grabs, and he is making it look like the easiest thing that could possibly be done.
Darius Slay in on the tackle. This time, Wentz coming out under centre. Single running back behind him brings TJ Hockenson in line with the formation and has Jefferson on the outside. It is Mason running to the outside. They've got so late that he's out for the first down and more. Outside the numbers, down to the 39-yard line. Pushed out of bounds, and there was just no edge from that Steelers defense
Peyton
there.
Wilson, we talked about it there, 41, couldn't hold the edge. Jordan Mason was able to kick outside, pick up the first down. Very, very simple. And if I'm Kevin O'Connell, that's exactly where I'm going to be running.
Jefferson has developed as a blocker over the course of his career, but it's not what you expect from him. He ends up being the one to spring Mason free. Mason back in alongside Wentz, this time in the gun. 2 receivers to the left. TJ Hockenson off the line to his right. Takes it, fakes the handoff to Mason, goes for a quick throw. Left inside the number, to Justin Jefferson, who gets to the 45-yard line. Nice gain on first down, 2nd and 2 from the 45.
I'm really curious to see what they have planned for this opening script. When Carson Wentz gets the ball out quickly, it did look better than when J.J. McCarthy was at quarterback for them over the first couple of weeks. When he held the ball last week, it was basically the same Carson Wentz we're used to seeing.
Feels like every throw's been under 2 seconds so far.
Playing on schedule, that's so important for Carson Wentz.
He's under centre again, a mix of centre and the gun so far. 2 receivers right, 2 tight ends on the left of the line. Jordan Mason in the backfield. He sends Justin Jefferson in motion from right to left. The ball does go to Mason. Stutter step inside, makes a man miss, gets out past the first down marker, gets an extra couple as well. That'll be a first down. The Minnesota Vikings out to their own 49-yard line.
Good vision there, Will. Again, it closed up inside. He was able to cut outside, and the Steelers had piled down. TJ Watt had pushed inside, and Mason was able to sidestep and pick up a decent chunk of yardage.
Deshaun Elliott in on the tackle.
This has got to be the script, hasn't it? I mean, rely on Jordan Mason, because you don't want Carson Wentz, as we talked about, dropping back and throwing 35, 40 passes a game.
So ball with Wentz in the gun, right in the middle of that NFL logo at the 50-yard line. Wentz has to fake out of his initial drop, then gives it to Mason on the right-hand side, out to the 50, down to the 54-yard line. It looked like his initial read didn't come to him there, Carson Wentz. He was forced to go off it. Got the dump off to Jordan Mason, and a nice pickup when it looked like that could be a loss of yardage.
And that's good, relatively calm football by Carson Wentz. Not his strength going to his secondary reads, but you called it right, Will. I mean, you always call it right, Will.
Stop it. Absolutely stop it. 2nd and 4, ball on the 45-yard line, just on the edge of that NFL logo. Gets under centre this time. 3 receivers to the left with Jefferson now in motion. He goes on a little pitch toss to Jordan Mason, makes a man miss, stutter step out to the 40, down to the 39-yard line. Ball is out, going the other way. Jalen Ramsey to the 30, to the 20, 15, 10, 5. Touchdown Steelers, no call on the field, and it is a touchdown. The line just down there has given it. Jordan Mason fumbles the ball right in front of the Steelers bench at the 49-yard line of the Pittsburgh Steelers, and Jalen Ramsey takes it all the way in for a 4th fumble and 6.
This place is absolutely going crazy right now. I want to see the replay to make sure that he actually fumbled the ball before he hit the ground.
Yeah, they are reviewing it. They are taking a look at it right now. Jalen Ramsey back down on the sideline, getting plenty of congratulations from his teammates. There is a consultation going on as we speak.
On the strip.
Checking on the strip, Sat. The screens here in the stadium haven't shown us a replay.
The ball was
yet.
coming out as he was going down, I have to say. Just on first look there.
The call of defense from the Steelers. Here we go, Steelers. Here we go. Chris Boswell is set up to take the kick, but they haven't been given the signal by the referees so far.
And a great little spin there from Jalen Ramsey when he scored that touchdown. He did Justin Jefferson's touchdown celebration, bringing the gritty to Ireland.
I think Deshaun Elliott punched it out, Will. I think the ball is out.
Deshaun Elliott with 2 big plays early in this game. Stopped what looked like it could have been a touchdown breaking run out to the right-hand side of Jordan Mason earlier in the game, and now potentially getting that forced fumble. We still wait for final word from the Zebras.
After reviewing the play, there was a fumble, however it was touched out of bounds.
So the Minnesota offense making their way back out onto the field. Now I thought they said there was a fumble, but was he touched out of bounds pre-fumble is the question. I'm guessing that is the claim.
Yeah, that's exactly what they called, Will. We're watching it here.
I don't see that at all. The Steelers defense on the field have all just watched that on the big screen and are asking, what on earth are you talking about? Where is he out of bounds? There is no foot out of bounds. I do not see that, Paul, at all. I've got to say, I think that is a complete failure from this officiating crew. Surely the Sky Judge, the replay assistants have to get involved in the situation. I do not understand. The Vikings, unsurprisingly, are getting up and rushing to snap the ball, but Brad Allen is coming to the sideline and having a conversation with Mike Tomlin.
It would almost benefit the Steelers to take a timeout here to give the NFL in New York time to look at it, because that I cannot see how that could be overturned.
So the process for the review as it was means New York should have looked at it. It is possible they have a different angle than we do. From the angles that we saw, I think what they say is that the ball was touching Jordan Mason while he was out of bounds. But we have not seen an angle that has confirmed that.
And what it looked like was the ball was already loose as his foot went out of bounds. But I would argue the fumble has already begun. The ball is already loose. It shouldn't be a fumble. But you hear the boos. Carson Wentz is out there and he's in the gun and he's gone empty. Jordan Mason splitting out wide right. 2 receivers left, 2 receivers right. Jefferson is one of the Manets who he looks for over the middle. Big completion out to the 17-yard line. Hit hard in the backfield by Deshaun Elliott. But that's a huge pickup for the Minnesota Vikings down into the red zone to the Pittsburgh Steelers 16.
Great throw between the numbers. Steelers rush 4. Wentz had plenty of time in the pocket. Darrisaw handled Nick Herbig, and it was a great throw over the linebacker in front of the safety. A great catch by Jordan Jefferson.
I'm still emotionally recovering from what just happened on the touchdown, but the Vikings are finding open grass on all these plays, even on the fumble.
Undoubtedly. Carson Wentz under center again. Mason in the backfield. He's got Jefferson, single receiver to the right. 3 to the left of the line, and that's where Mason will run it just for a short game, picking up maybe 3 on that one, down to the Pittsburgh Steelers 13. That'll be 2nd and 7. And in terms of red zone this season, when you consider these 2 teams, you've got tied 10th in the NFL, the Minnesota offense. They've had touchdowns on 6 of 9 trips right now. The Pittsburgh defense, not their usual stout selves. They're in the bottom 10 in the NFL in red zone defense right now. Wentz under center again. Mason behind him. This time Hockenson lined out to the right of formation. Sends a man in motion. It's Jalen Naylor who moves from right to left. Now Hockenson goes right to left as well. Fakes the pitch. Goes to Jefferson. Has a lineman out there getting upfield down to the 6-yard line. It would be a first down, but there was a flag on this near side, and I wonder if Brian O'Neill got out in front of the play before the ball was thrown and they get an illegal man downfield here.
You are absolutely correct, Will. I love being here in the stadium and seeing them call it ahead of time before they actually call it.
Yeah, head on the hat from Brad Allen, and it did look like it. The design of that play was clearly a faked handoff with getting Brian O'Neill out of space.
Downfield. Offense number 76. 5-yard penalty. 2nd down.
Well, they actually called it on Will Fries rather than on Brian O'Neill, but I thought it was the right tackle who got out into space. It may make more sense if it was Fries, the former Indianapolis Colts, who they gave that big contract to this off-season. Him and Ryan Kelly reconnecting, coming over from Indianapolis and starting today for this Minnesota offense. So it will be 2nd and 12 after that penalty. 7:50 left in the first quarter. Wentz in the gun. He's gone 5 wide yet again, with Mason splitting out. Wide left, 2 tight ends left, 2 receivers right. He looks towards Jefferson, goes to Jefferson at the 15, gets just back beyond the line of scrimmage, but it'll be 3rd and 9 with the ball on the 15, and a big down for the Steelers defense coming up, Simon.
Yeah, huge play now. And this is what we talked about beforehand. When you've got TJ Watt, when you've got Nick Herbig, can they get pressure on Carson Wentz, force a field goal? And for Wentz, the important thing now is don't turn the ball over, don't force the ball. Worst case scenario, come away with 3 points.
They're dictating some matchups here, though. That was Jefferson on Chuck Clark. I saw TJ Hawkinson on a linebacker. They're doing well with this 5-wide formation.
They break the huddle. Naylor to the right, 3 to the left. Natural pick play, but Wentz goes down in the backfield. Patrick Queen blitzing up from the linebacker position, mugged up, didn't drop out, and for once the Pittsburgh Steelers defense does something interesting in the front, and it works.
Yeah, both these quarterbacks, I think, are going to struggle today when they are under pressure. You saw Justin Jefferson get frustrated. He flashed over the middle open. He was clapping his hands, but Carson Wentz's eyes were down. He never got a chance to go to him.
So Will Reichard with the field goal attempt. It's going to be a 41-yarder from here. Andrew DePaula with the snap. Ryan Wright with the hold. Hold is good. Ball is up, and it is good. First points on the board for the Minnesota Vikings with 6:24 left in the first quarter. We thought there was the fumble. We thought the Pittsburgh Steelers had the defensive touchdown. And there is a man actually down on the field for the Vikings. It is right tackle Brian O'Neill. We will take a break and come back, keep you updated on that situation, which will bring you live and exclusive coverage of the first ever NFL game in Dublin here on talkSPORT 2. Back with NFL Live on talkSPORT 2, Croke Park, Dublin, Ireland. A few clouds beginning to roll in. They're used to that around these parts, although if you're sat on the hill off to our left-hand side and we do get a bit of rain today, they might get a little bit wet. But they're seeing some sensational action on the field early doors. 6:24 left in the first quarter. After Aaron Rodgers is sacked on the opening play of the game and forced to a 3-and-out, the Minnesota Vikings eventually drive the ball down the field and have to settle for a 41-yard field goal for Reichard. But in the middle of that drive, Jordan Mason, it looked like fumbled the ball. Jalen Ramsey, it looked like managed to return it. And we're just looking. Jordan Mason, he has touched and has... Right, so Jordan Mason is out of bounds. His leg is out of bounds, and he reaches over and put a hand on the ball, and he is touched in that moment, and they're calling that him regaining possession and being out of bounds. I still think that's nonsense, but let's get the kickoff. Pittsburgh bringing the ball out to their left-hand side, out to the 29, out to the 30-yard line, maybe only making the 29 in on the tackle. Good kickoff coverage, and that's where Aaron Rodgers will start this second drive.
What that was, Will, is that is unbelievable spatial awareness. If he knew the rule and did that and essentially stopped the touchdown, because, you know, for us up here, for most people in the stadium, that looked like Jalen Ramsey had scored. So hats off to Jordan Mason if he knew the rule and to his spatial awareness.
It's the perfect NFL, like, exporting the game moment. A little controversy, a little arcane rule that you don't really understand. That's what the sport's all about.
Spencer Anderson, the backup guard, is into the game as a 6th lineman and reporting eligible. Darnell Wright on that side of the line as well. So there's at least 7 massive men out there, and Kenneth Gamer will get it on the toss and run to that side, out to the 35, out to the 39-yard line, maybe a yard short of the first down marker, but a nice drive starter for this Pittsburgh Steelers offense.
Yeah, that's a sight for sore eyes for Steelers fans, and I do think that's the way, if you're going to beat this defense, that's the way to do it on the ground.
Absolutely, and you want to get in behind those big guys, Will, Zach Frazier, Isaac Seumalo, Broderick Jones, run the ball. You don't, again, much like Carson Wentz, you don't want Aaron Rodgers dropping back 40 times a game.
Ben Skoranek into the game for Spencer Anderson. 3 receivers to the right, Darnell Wright to the left, and comes back in line with Darnell Washington, back in line with the formation. Ball snapped to Rodgers in the gun. Quick pass, right hand side. Calvin Austin makes a man miss, gets out down the first down marker, outside the numbers to the 43-yard line, and that'll be a first down. Pittsburgh Steelers, their first of the afternoon.
Good play there by the Steelers, but I love watching this Vikings defense. You have an undersized cornerback, and then you also have Dallas Turner, a defensive end, and they're both, you know, emerging to tackle a guy in space. Good athleticism there.
Calvin Austin, the number 2 receiver on this team so far this season. He and DK Metcalf out there on this play. Darnell Washington to the right, 3 to the left, as they also send the running back in motion. It's the rookie Caleb Johnson. Here comes Rogers, quick pass over the middle, out to the 50, down to the 45-yard line of the Minnesota Vikings. Dallas Turner in on the tackle. DK Metcalf over the middle. The big man picking up a second Pittsburgh Steelers first down.
That was veteran processing from Aaron Rodgers there, because literally about a second before the snap, 3 or 4 defenders moved, lined up over right tackle, right guard, and Rodgers took the snap and straight away went back the other way where those guys had just come from.
Ingram Dawkins getting in and putting the pressure on Rodgers, but he gets the ball out quickly. Now heavy set line both sides, receiver right and receiver left, Calvin Austin and DK Metcalf. Instead it is the pitch to the rookie running back, who gets maybe 2-3 yards on the carry, Caleb Johnson. So far not seen a huge amount from this rookie so far, but they're trusting him in this series up to this point. As I say, that Kenneth Gainwell will come back into the game.
If they can get him going, that's going to be really important, because the only thing that's happened this season is the terrible mistake he made on special teams, which cost him a touchdown. So, I mean, he was great at Iowa, and you really think that, you know, he's a classic Steelers back.
2nd and 8, ball on the 41-yard line. 2 backs in alongside Rodgers, 2 receivers to the left. Watchalong lining up on the right-hand side of the line. Heavy set, calls for the snap and then sends a man in motion. It's Jonnu Smith. That's where he's going to look for the ball initially. It does go to John Smith on the check down, out to the 40 outside the numbers, and out of bounds on the far side to the 35-yard line. Nice pick up on 2nd down. That'll be 3rd and 2 from about the 35-yard line.
There's such a tight end heavy offense. If you watch Darnell Washington, he's out wide one play, he's in the backfield one play. That time he's on the line of scrimmage as an extra blocker. You have Jonnu Smith coming out of the backfield, Freiermuth often in the mix too. It's all about the tight ends on this offense.
It's a tight end heavy offense, and Darnell Washington is a heavy tight end, it must be said. But they do go 4 wide on the next play. They've got Kenneth Gainwell in the backfield. 3rd and 2 from the 35. Big moment here for the Steelers early doors in this game as they do go down the left-hand side. Look at the DK Metcalf jump ball out to the 14-yard line of the Minnesota Vikings, and that will be a Pittsburgh Steelers first down into the red zone. Ivan Pace on the coverage.
Great throw, man coverage on the outside, back shoulder ball to DK Metcalf. You take that every day, eating the Vikings lunch.
Sorry, it was Jeff Okudah. The 8 and the 0 from here look very similar. Jeff Okudah on DK Metcalf is a matchup I'd look for all day if I can get it if I'm Pittsburgh.
And when Aaron Rodgers throws in rhythm like that, he still looks like the old Aaron Rodgers.
So we have 1st and 10, ball on the 18. Gainwell in the backfield. Rodgers now coming under centre. Austin to the left. DK Metcalf, Austin to the right. DK Metcalf to the left. He goes for a quick pass to DK Metcalf. The pressure. Ivan Pace trying to bring him down. He almost gets out to the first down marker. Still standing up, still with the ball. Eventually, the players were all dead. Eventually, there were 6 Vikings players around DK Metcalf, and nobody could bring him down. And we get a bit of afters. 9-yard gain, I think, out to about the 9-yard line.
It looked like Isaiah Rodgers, last week's hero, trying to, with fumble returns and interception returns, was trying to get the ball out of DK Metcalf, out of his hands there, and it kicks off a little bit.
They are going to give him that forward motion, so they are going to give him 1st and goal from the 7-yard line. Goal to go for these Pittsburgh Steelers. 2nd in red zone this season, 7 touchdowns on 8 trips. Gainwell in alongside Rodgers. Darnell Washington lining out wide again, being used. Skowronek, Metcalf and Austin to the right-hand side. Rodgers calls out protection, calls for the ball. It's a low snap, and he looks to that left-hand side. It goes to Gainwell. Gainwell has to make a man miss. It's Josh Metellus who gets him down at the 1-yard line, but it'll be 2nd and goal from the 1. Nice design from the Steelers.
Yeah, Rodgers looks over, and I thought he was going to go to the big guy, Darnell Washington. That's where the Vikings defense went. The Pittsburgh Steelers, because of their tight ends, can do so many different things on the goal line.
So, 2nd and 1, 2nd and goal from the 1. And it's 2 tight ends again. 12 personnel has been run in the NFL more this season. It's jumped up something like 12% from the last 2 years, and I think the Steelers might be responsible for most of that based on what we've seen.
And they've got Connor Hayward in as a fullback
today.
As well.
There we go, Cam Hayward in as a fullback, centre tight end in motion. It goes to Gainwell. Gainwell, touchdown! Steelers over the left-hand side of that line. They got incredibly heavy, the Pittsburgh offense, and it's 6 on the board for the first time today. 55 seconds left in the first quarter. Steelers 6, Vikings 3.
The Steelers offense early in games, when they're on their script, has looked quite good this year. I love what Arthur Smith did. They played a little up-tempo. The matchups, they basically were dictating to Brian Flores in that drive.
Chris Boswell on for the extra point. Christian Kuntz to snap it. Corliss Waitman, the holder. Ball is up through the post, and it is good. The Pittsburgh Steelers 7-3 up on the Minnesota Vikings with 55 seconds left in the first quarter. You are listening to NFL Live here on talkSPORT 2, and the first touchdown ever scored on Irish soil in a regular season NFL game. Maybe should have mentioned that at the time, but a historic moment, Gregg Rosenthal.
I love to see it, and you almost forget that you're in Dublin. It feels like we're in Pittsburgh right now, and I'm impressed. Like the way that the Vikings defense got after them the first drive, for the Steelers to respond like that was very impressive.
Yeah, that was a really good, you mentioned it, Greg, when they stay on script, especially early in games. That Will was a very rare 14 personnel, 4 tight ends on the field, jumbo package, classic Steelers, and then run in behind Big Isaac Surmalu for the touchdown.
Just an update, injury update for Brian O'Neill. He has headed to the locker room with the Minnesota Vikings training staff, so we'll keep an eye and see what that means for this Minnesota offensive line as they come out for the next drive. Next man up on that sideline. I mean, it's probably Justin School coming back into the game, and it's fair to say the first 2 weeks of the season taken to school by most of the defensive linemen he went up against. I would have some concern if he has to come in and play right tackle. Maybe they go Walter Rouse, but School is the man who has had much more play so far this season. Brett Kiesel's currently on the field doing an interview with Colin Wolfe and Rondé Barber. Brett Kiesel was at the event we did on Friday night, and to suggest that he'd been enjoying himself on Friday would be a huge understatement. I think he might be having the most fun of anyone in Dublin this week, the Steelers legends.
I mean, I take offense to that. I'm having that much fun. We could not have quite as much fun on that night, though, as Brett Kiesel.
No, absolutely. And he said it when he talked about the Irish links with the Pittsburgh Steelers. So many Steelers fans in here. Such noise from this crowd after Brett Kiesel encourages them to get loud. But he said that whilst that Steelers link with Ireland is so strong, what you also have is if you're from Pittsburgh, you are born wrapped in a terrible towel. And so he's not surprised to see so many Americans over here, so many making the trip. As he said before the game, the highest percentage ever of tickets sold in North America. And looking around here, you have to say it's probably pretty Steelers heavy.
I literally heard none of that, Will. It's so loud in here. I could see your mouth moving, but beyond that.
Oh, God. Chris Boswell lining up to kick the ball off. Second opportunity to see this team back on the field. Taken at the 2-yard line, brought out through the middle. Nice little stuff going out to the 29, out to maybe the 30-yard line on the return. It was the rookie Miles Price again, and that's where Carson Wentz will come out and start this with an adjusted offensive line. We'll keep an eye on exactly what that's going to look like, trying to figure out exactly what the personnel is out there. I see Darasaur, I think possibly Blake Brandel coming into the game. So are they moving him to guard and pushing somebody wide? It's so difficult to see from this angle, isn't it? But we'll get that figured out and come back to you on it. Steelers showing 4 men and maybe pressure off the left side, and they do bring some pressure out the left side. Run blitz, but Jordan Mason gets around Jalen Ramsey on the edge, gets out to maybe the 31, and it's a toe-tapping tackle from the man that they brought in from Miami. Jalen Ramsey might not have the touchdown today, but that was potentially a touchdown-saving tackle.
Yeah, Jordan Mason, that's a couple times today. He has cut against the grain of the play, has great vision, but not the juice there. Jalen Ramsey gets him down.
25 seconds left on the clock, 20 on the play clock. Justin School is into the game, playing at right tackle. Have that now confirmed. So they'll have to get the play off one more time before the end of the quarter. Carson Wentz is in the gun. Mason alongside him, looks to the right-hand side. Jordan Addison, first catch of the game for him, and it's all the way out to the 51-yard line of the Pittsburgh Steelers into plus territory. A big 21-yard pickup. Welcome back, Jordan Addison. And at the end of the first quarter, the Steelers lead the Minnesota Vikings 7-3. Live and exclusive coverage from Dublin, Ireland, as the NFL comes to the Emerald Isles for the first time ever here on talkSPORT 2. Back with NFL Live on talkSPORT 2 at the start of the second quarter. The Pittsburgh Steelers lead the Minnesota Vikings 7-3. In that first quarter, Aaron Rodgers went 8 for 8 for 65 yards on that touchdown drive. DK Metcalf already 3 for 42. Justin Jefferson, by the way, already 4 for 38. These Irish fans getting what they came to see, and maybe not the low-scoring defensive game we were expecting, as the Minnesota Vikings are out past midfield. Carson Wentz is in the gun, and the play is just being held up for a moment as Brad Allen waits to give them the indication to get the quarter underway. Wentz having a conversation with the back judge, and now in the gun. Jordan Mason alongside him, Justin Jefferson to the left, Naylor and Addison to the right. Naylor goes in motion from right to left and will act as a blocker for Jefferson. Jefferson out to the 42-yard line. Nice pickup on first down on the wide receiver screen, and they'll pick up about 6, 3rd and 4. Ball on the 43-yard line. 42.
Yeah, I was just watching Schooler, who's really struggled at left tackle replacing Darasaw. And I think that getting the ball out quick now for Kevin O'Connell, for Carson Wentz, is going to be vitally important. You do not want Justin Schooler 1v1 against TJ Watt in a 3rd and long situation.
He will get bull rushed out of his cleats if that happens. 2 tight ends in this time for the Minnesota Vikings, with Mason, who gets the toss out to the left and breaking up the play in the backfield. He's been terrible against the run so far this season, but Peyton Wilson gets the tackle for a loss. They might call it back at the line of scrimmage, calling it 3rd and 5 from the 44-yard line. 3rd and 7, it was a 2-yard loss in the end.
I do think these teams get a little predictable. They're always running away from TJ Watt. That time, the linebackers, they were flowing as the start of that play happened.
You said it as well. Now on the 44, go.
You said it as well about Wilson there. That's a great play to work through the formation. The struggles he's had for a 2-yard stuff, that was an excellent play for him. He's so athletic.
Carson Wentz stomps his feet, Mason alongside him, 2 receivers to his left in Hockenson and in Jefferson, and the noise in here leads to a flag on the field. Oh, there was a false start on the offense. I could not hear Brad Allen, and we've got a special link to his mic that lets us hear him. It's so loud in here that wasn't enough.
This is pin your ears back now, 3rd and 12 with Herbig, with TJ Watt and Justin Schooler on the field.
TJ Watt unsurprisingly lining up on the left-hand side of that line. Nick Herbig on the right. Cam Ward lining up wide. He's almost on the left tackle as he is lined up in this formation. They're showing pressure potentially off the right-hand side. Mason does go out and offer a potential check down. Wentz is flushed out of pocket. Wentz is taken down at the 40-yard line, and it is that man, Nick Herbig. Simon Clancy giving him all the love pre-game, and he picks up his 2nd sack of the season to take Wentz down at the 40-yard line and force the Vikings into a punt.
You could almost feel the panic from Carson Wentz from here. The formation that you pointed out before mixed them up. Herbig ends up going inside, Hayward on the outside, and he ran down Carson Wentz. That was not a fair fight.
Gotta love those pass rush moves. Ryan Wright into punt then on the season. An average of 47-3. It punts from the 30. It's going to spiral all the way down to about the 17. It's going to bounce actually at the 20. Takes a little bit of a Steelers bounce and is ruled dead right at the 20-yard line. And Aaron Rodgers and that Steelers offense will come back onto the field. The big question here now, gents, so good in those scripted plays early doors. Can they replicate that now that they're going to have to be calling the offense on the fly?
I mean, if I'm Arthur Smith, I'm doing exactly what I did the last drive. Keeping it simple, handing the ball off, mixing the running backs in and out, getting DK Metcalf involved, big jumbo setups with the tight ends, a lot of motion. Aaron Rodgers does, the Vikings do play a lot of zone. Aaron Rodgers getting the ball out, throwing it low, keeping it away from the defenders. Greg, I think that's got to be the script moving forwards.
Yeah, I've just kept an eye on number 80, Darnell Washington, all game because it's hard to miss him. But one thing I've thought about with their offense this year is they can use him even more. He hasn't had as much playing time. I'm not sure I've seen a snap without him on the field today. He's been a bigger part of the game plan and sets up a lot of the things that they do.
Oh, 6'7", 264 pounds of him. That's pretty much 3 Gregg Rosenthals, I think, on the field at one time.
Mount Washington.
Some of the fun they like to do with these international events, and I do think it's interesting. Like pre-game, we had the explainer videos on the big screen and things like that, and I was thinking to myself, we're probably at a point with the NFL in this country, in the UK, in Europe beyond, where maybe we don't necessarily need to have those explainers, but I still think having these field goal challenges and these things keeps the crowd engaged during the TV timeouts. A little bit of fun, and for the crowds here who don't get this Americana, who don't get this fun, who don't get these in-break little moments, this is actually something the fans come for. Like, football fans, soccer fans often ask me, oh God, when they're doing the helmet thing, when they're doing this, don't you hate it? And I'm like, actually the crowd really get into it and enjoy it, because it's part of the experience, it's part of the fun, it's part of the day.
A very excitable guy has just toe punted 2 balls through the post. I don't think I've ever heard a louder noise at a sporting event.
Well, he's won himself an undiscerned amount of money because they appear to have blurred out what it is on the giant check. Thanks for that, guys.
I love the fact that right now, like, the crowd reaction to him hitting that field goal was maybe bigger than if it was an actual field goal. Like, an American crowd would not be that into that.
At Clara, local Irish band, fiddle in tow, squeeze box in tow, getting this Irish crowd riled up, getting the Irish section to it absolutely going. I love all of this, absolutely adore it.
I'm not sure they need to be riled up any further than they are, Will, quite frankly.
So, 12:28 left in the second quarter, 7-3 the Steelers lead, and they get the ball back on their 20-yard line. Rodgers in the gun, single back in alongside him, 1 receiver left. 2 receivers to the right, heavy line with guess who, Darnell Washington there. Ben Skoranek goes in motion, fakes the handoff to Gainwell, over the middle, DK Metcalf, out to the void, 45-50, 45-40, 35-30, he's got a block ahead of him, Calvin Austin, down to the 10, down to the 5, touchdown! DK Metcalf, absolutely sensational for the big man they brought in from Seattle, and a second touchdown for the Pittsburgh Steelers. This crowd has gone absolutely wild.
You wanted a Steelers moment in Dublin? You got one. DK Metcalf over the middle. Multiple Vikings with a chance to tackle him, except they didn't have a chance because none of them have the speed of DK Metcalf.
That's why you trade for him, but what a job by Calvin Austin blocking down the sideline to allow DK Metcalf to get in. Great throw over the middle, great job by DK Metcalf cutting off angles, and Calvin Austin, and a superb job as Boswell puts the extra point through. A great job by Austin, one of the smallest players on the offense.
Aaron Rodgers this week called Harrison Smith a Hall of Famer during his press conference. I'm sure he will have enjoyed beating Harrison Smith on that route, who collapsed to the floor trying to get the tackle. 2 more men downfield, as you mentioned. A difficult angle taken by Theo Jackson that couldn't get him there in time. And the Vikings defense have given up 2 touchdowns in 2 drives. A lot of us predicted a Vikings victory based on the strength of Brian Flores' unit. Now Carson Wentz is going to come out with a job to do when we get back with live and exclusive NFL action here on talkSPORT 2. Back with talkSPORT 2, live and exclusive coverage from Dublin, Ireland, where against the odds going into this game, the Pittsburgh Steelers are 14-3 up on the Minnesota Vikings with 12:16 left in the second quarter, and about to kick the ball back to the Vikings offense. We have the drum line in the Steelers painted end zone to our left during the break. We've got Irish music and kiss cams going on the screens. Every little inch of this day has been a celebration. Chris Boswell lining up then with the ball on that 35-yard line. With this dynamic kickoff, the number of returns this season has been absolutely sensational. It means that players have had to get more involved on that side. Miles Price and Ty Felton back for them. The 80-yard Metcalf score is the longest touchdown through the air in all 40 NFL, UK and Ireland games. Only returns have been longer.
Aaron Rodgers 9 for 9 for 145 yards on a day that I started out saying he looked old and struggling against pressure.
I mean, Ireland's being treated to vintage Aaron Rodgers here, Will.
I mean, Aaron Rodgers threw a good ball then, but I think it's fair to say that DK Metcalf and Calvin Austin were the reason that touchdown was scored.
Well, yeah, and Theo Jackson is not going to want to see that back again on field. The angle he takes there, when you're going up against a guy like DK Metcalf, that speed is different.
Right, the Vikings will start this drive. We missed the kickoff. It's fine from the 26-yard line. Carson Wentz under centre. Jordan Mason in the backfield. Ball goes to Mason off that left-hand side, and he is wrapped up a yard behind the line of scrimmage. Taken down, swarmed on by at least 4 Steelers players. Nick Herbig in there, Peyton Wilson in there, and Cam Hayward in there. That's a lot of man coming down on Jordan Mason, and it'll be a 2nd and 11. I think these Steelers might be feeling themselves, boys.
I think they've heard all week that they can't stop the run and that they're the worst team in the NFL in terms of missed tackles against the run, and they've showed up big time so far.
So 2nd, and they're going to be generous to say he got back to the line of scrimmage. 2nd and 10 from the 26. Big noise from these fans here. The backup running back Going out in motion to the right-hand side is Xavier Scott, stepping his foot. There's Carson Wentz, 5 empty, holds the ball but goes over the middle, finds Jordan Addison around the 30, manages to pick up about 5 on the play. They're going to give him that forward motion out to the 31-yard line, and a huge 3rd and 5 coming up for the Minnesota Vikings, considering where they are in this game, Greg.
Yeah, this is exactly the scenario that they did not want to have coming into this game. Kevin O'Connell, he hasn't seen Carson Wentz in a situation where they're trying to play from behind. Manageable situation, at least here, with 5 yards to gain.
Hawkinson left, Addison right, and Hawkinson comes inside. Justin Jefferson. Wentz looking to the sideline. It looks like a timeout has been called on the play. Steelers defense call it on that 3rd and 5. Not sure what the confusion or the communication issue was there. It was very, very loud in here. But when I initially saw a timeout was going to be taken, I kind of assumed it was going to be Minnesota, to be honest.
Yeah, the Vikings right now are counting on players that they don't want to be counting on. Justin School playing out of position over on the right side. You mentioned the backup running back. A young player, Xavier Scott, who has not played much in the NFL, now getting key snaps with a quarterback who's only been on the team about a month or so.
Intrigued to see what Terrell Austin does here as well, Will. Last 3rd and long, we had the Patrick Queen sack. He almost hid behind TJ Watt, broke through when Wentz wasn't looking. Intrigued to see whether they try and get home with 4. We obviously have Nick Herbig, who's already had the big takedown. I'm so keen to see whether they're going to drop guys off into coverage or whether they're going to try and pressure Wentz.
It's getting really loud in here. Yet again, Wentz is in the gun. He's gone 5 wide. Yet again, 2 to the right, 2 to the left. The tight end in line takes the snap. They do rush for the Steelers. He goes over the middle and gets Justin Jefferson right around the 1st down marker. Holds onto it under massive pressure. Hit as he catches the ball, but keeps hold of it. It's Brandon Eccles in on the tackle, and that'll be 1st down Minnesota. Big moment.
An excellent catch right there. That's why they brought him here. And look, that was not an easy play, not a lot of separation, and he took the hit and held on to the ball.
Nick Herbig limped off there, Will, at the end. Just interesting, just to keep a watch on that.
So Herbig not in the game. Funnily enough, they have quite a range of pass rushers, this team. Jordan Mason in behind Carson Wentz, who's under centre. 3 stacked to his right, Jefferson in single to the left-hand side, and he will fake the handoff to Mason. Steps up in the pocket, a little bit of pressure coming out of that left side. Wentz will be forced to scramble, steps up, gets maybe a yard on the play. I have to say, it was some decent coverage downfield there, but I think Wentz went a little early on that, maybe seeing a few ghosts.
That looked like a shot play to me, Greg, that Carson Wentz just pulled back on. I think he didn't like the coverage because it was set up to go deep.
The minute he holds the ball a little longer, you can see he's not comfortable, because that was a play where the offensive line was doing a great job. He could have stayed there for a little longer. His eyes went down, and then he went down.
So he does manage to pick up a yard on the play. 2nd and 9 at the 38. Wentz takes the ball in the gun, goes out to Jefferson on his left-hand side, catches it just at the numbers, right around the 45-yard mark, picks up 7, maybe even 8 on it. The judge on the far side has given him down to a 3rd and 1 situation. Deshaun Elliott and Jalen Ramsey both in on the tackle in the end, but it's another 3rd down opportunity for this Steelers defense, who are just making everything that's so difficult for this Minnesota Vikings offense so far.
That's a positive play, though, for them. If they're going to give him that many yards off the line of scrimmage, Carson Wentz for 7 over the middle is the best play they've had so far today.
3rd and 1 from the 46. Wentz in the gun, gives it to Mason. Mason up off that right-hand side, pushes. Does he get that 1st down on that far side? The indicator is right around the marker. We are bang in line with it on the NFL logo here. Like, honestly, we could be the Hawkeye camera right now as to whether that ball made it. And I'm still not 100% Greg.
I am on the imaginary yellow line. I think he just got the 1st down. And look, we're here for a bit of history. It is the first virtual measurement in the international series. Let's go.
Oh, Greg, calling the moments of history. Gregg Rosenthal, NFL Daily. Simon Clancy alongside me, Will Gavin. 1 of 3 on 3rd down so far today, the Minnesota Vikings. And the big question is, if they haven't got this, if the virtual measurement says they're short, 4th and 1 at the 46, what are the analytics saying, Simon? I think they might go for it.
You've got to go for it. You're down 14-0 and you're being beaten up. You've got to go for it. I think you'll be Kevin O'Connell.
The virtual measurement comes up and he is 9 inches short of the first down, and the offense right now is staying out on the field. Carson Wentz is on his wrist sheet, getting the play in. The noise in here is absolutely deafening. It must be so hard to get the play into these players. Looks like they are going to have at least 12 personnel out there on this one.
This place will go wild if the Steelers hold.
Wentz gets under centre, could be a quarterback sneak. Mason is available, offset to the right. He sends Jefferson in a little orbit motion, and actually he's now in the backfield. Ball goes to Mason, gets the first down, gets a lot more, out to the 45-yard line, picks up 10 on the play, and that'll be a first down, the Minnesota Vikings. Kevin O'Connell manning up and going for it on 4th and 1, and that's a huge moment with 7:45 left in the second quarter.
Awesome block there by right tackle Justin School on TJ Watt, and that was very close to popping for a long run. It was actually a good job by Deshaun Elliott to get the tackle.
45-yard line then, first down. Carson Wentz actually extending his arms and sending everyone out 5 wide again. I'm not sure what he saw from the look, but he definitely decided it, and there's some confusion in the Steelers defense. Patrick Queen having scored it. There were 2 rushers completely unmanned, and he goes out for a quick pass on that left-hand side. It goes to Xavier Scott on the left-hand side, and that will be about a 3-yard gain, 2nd and 7. There were 2 completely free rushes in that situation. Patrick Queen was screaming something at the rest of the defense. I'm not sure exactly what the idea was there, but they managed to hold them to a 3-yard gain.
They haven't had many communication issues so far, Will, but that was clearly a problem pre-snap. But the Vikings weren't able to take advantage of it.
So Wentz now comes under centre. 6:51 left in the second quarter. 14-3 game, 2nd and 7. Wentz checks the play at the line of scrimmage. 2 receivers right, 1 receiver left is Jefferson. He goes for a pitch to his back, in the backfield, out to the 45, makes a first man miss. Second man takes him down, in on the tackle this time. Juan Thornhill, and that'll be maybe a 1-yard loss on that one. 3rd and 8. And again, this crowd is going to be making a big difference.
Yeah, the Vikings have been on the field quite a bit so far. 24 plays to 13 for the Steelers. This game is going very fast. It's too fast. I'm having fun. I want it to slow down.
6:12 remaining. Michael McQuaid, the Irish hero this week, is in the booth with us and join us momentarily. But first, Carson Wentz brings Mason into the backfield alongside him. He's got a stack of 3 receivers to the left and Hawkinson to his right. Holds the ball under some pressure over the middle, looking for Addison. Doesn't find Jordan Addison. Instead, it's a Pittsburgh Steeler going down. Interception to Sean Elliott. A huge game for him so far today at safety, and now another turnover for the Pittsburgh Steelers, and the Minnesota Vikings in some trouble here in Dublin.
On first thought, Will, I thought it was just a terrible throw because he had Addison wide open. It clearly gets tipped to the line of scrimmage. But, I mean, they had exactly what they wanted defensively. They got him into exactly the formation they wanted to. Addison is wide open across the middle. I didn't see who it was. He got his hand up.
I think it was Keanu Benton over the middle, not sure, but look, the bounces are going the Steelers' way. I know they didn't get the good call there, but they get the deflection and they get the interception in a huge moment.
Brilliant stuff. I mean, this Steelers defense turning up, the Steelers offense getting big plays. Michael McQuaid, Simon Clancy's going to step away for a moment. Michael McQuaid is going to join us in the booth as we come back in a moment here on talkSPORT 2. Pittsburgh Steelers 14, the Minnesota Vikings 3, 5:50 left in the second quarter. After the big turnover of Carson Wentz, Derek Harmon getting the tip at the line of scrimmage, Deshaun Elliott with the interception, Will Gavin, NFL Daily's Gregg Rosenthal, and now Pro Football Ireland's Michael McQuaid joins us in the booth. Michael, we'll get this playoff first, but a Steelers takeover going on right now as Aaron Rodgers breaks the huddle, has a running back alongside him, Kenneth Gainwell. He's got Jonnu Smith lined up to the left, 2 receivers to the right, and Calvin Austin and DK Metcalf. Stomps his foot, snap is low, Gainwell stays in, and it goes to Darnell Washington, the main man, so far it feels like, for this Steelers offense. 6-yard pickup, 2nd and 4. Mike, the Steelers took over Dublin this week. Right now they're taking over every yard between those 2 end zones. Just a sensational week for you so far.
It's class, and Neil, wow, Will. Wow, there we go.
Stop. We're going to have the play instead. I think you're done, mate. Aaron Rodgers in the gun. Darnell Washington to the left. Jonnu Smith there as well. Same formation with Metcalf and Calvin Austin to the left and a back in alongside him. Snap this time is good. Gainwell takes the handoff outside the numbers to the 40. Gets right down around the first down marker. Ivan Pace Jr. in on the tackle. And I think they will call that a Steelers first down. Look, what a week, man.
Well, and apologies for the rain. It's been a mad week. Can I said all you guys, people listening as well, Fulchag is going to be a Morgan. Welcome to Dublin, Ireland here. This is special. And I was talking about it, giving off about it. Like, that was incredible. And yeah, Steelers are dominating so far.
Rodgers in the gun, 3 to the right, tight end on the left-hand side of his line, and in fact Jonnu Smith will go from right to left as well. So same formation again for the first 3 plays of this drive with Kenneth Gainwell in alongside him. If it's working, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. This time Gainwell goes out in a route and under pressure, Rodgers forced to throw it away quickly, looking for Jonnu Smith, and it'll be 2nd and 10 from the 43. Mike, just talk about this week and what it's been meant for you and for this city and what you've seen.
Yeah, like there's so many people that obviously fly over to games in London and games in Europe, and for us it's just been an opportunity to show people that we exist, we're good crack, and that it's more than time for a game. I mean, I know you guys are standing here right now around the 50-yard line. I mean, look around you. It's just very, very special.
The crack is on 90.
Big time.
Aaron Rodgers under centre. Gainwell in the backfield goes for the toss to Gainwell. Goes outside the numbers, down to the 49, down to the 50. Eventually taken down by Javon Hargrave. The grave digger getting out to take him down, but a 9-yard gain. He saves the first down, but a 3rd and 1 right around midfield. Will we hear any Vikings fans make some noise in this stadium is the question after what they've seen so far.
Not after that play. I am really impressed with how this offensive line is mowing through this Vikings front. It's Broderick Jones on the move. It's Sayamalo. Zach Frazier is having a really good game. They are winning the battle right now up front.
Rodgers under centre. Washington goes from left to right in the formation. Gainwell in behind him. Ben Skowronek out wide right. The ball goes to Gainwell. Gainwell just past the first down marker, out to the 47-yard line, and that will be a Steelers first down. But there are some serious afters. Siamalu involved in that, Pace involved in that as well. Byron Murphy Jr. involved in that as well. Flags go flying whichever way this goes as Rodgers calls his offense back in, tells everyone to calm down. This could be a massive penalty in this game if it goes against the Vikings here.
Well, look, it's not the first time we've seen a bit of fisticuffs in Dublin, lads, and it's good to see it. I will say this before I jump out here. That DK Metcalf score is the longest touchdown in all 40 NFL, UK and Ireland games, and I'm presuming that you've already had that. So
it's absolutely fine. I appreciate you reading it again, mate. I would have much liked to have had you for longer, but you've got to go down.
I'll pop in the second half, don't worry.
Hey, come back up in the second half. Michael McQuaid,
personal
briefly
foul,
joining us.
Unnecessary roughness, defense, number 7. 15-yard penalty, automatic. First down.
Byron Murphy Jr. It's a big penalty to give up 15 yards in this situation. A first down and the ball going all the way out to the 33-yard line. Already in field goal range for a kicker like Chris Boswell, and now this Vikings team, who are under so much pressure already, just continue to get manhandled. And a little bit of frustration maybe starting to come in, Greg.
I am not surprised. That was another play where at least the right side of the offensive line really caved in the Vikings. The Vikings don't like getting pushed around. We got it all now. We got fights. We got touchdowns overturned. We got long scores. We got it all.
Rodgers comes under centre, makes a move up front, pitches the ball out to Gainwell off the left-hand side of the line, gets maybe a yard on the play. In fact, they'll get it just back at the line of scrimmage. That'll be 2nd and 10 from the 32.
Brian Flores needs to get in his bag here, Will. He needs an answer for this, because Aaron Rodgers you can almost feel the Aaron Rodgers mojo up here. He's got the swagger back. They're not running the ball much. The ball's in his hands a lot, and Brian Flores needs to do something to stop this, because they do not want to be 21-3 down going into half-time.
It was Ben Skowronek, by the way, going up against Byron Murphy that drew that penalty earlier, and I just saw Mike Tomlin giving him a big pat on the back and a slap on the helmet down on the sideline. So he was happy to see that 15 yards go in his direction, that's for sure. Darnell Washington goes from right to left, lines up along the line. Caleb Johnson is in the backfield, but Rodgers will just tip it off to him, and that is just a straight up drop from the rookie. Caleb Johnson puts the ball into the ground, yet to have a reception this season. Dallas Turner, in on the tackle, but if you're a rookie and you've had the first 3 weeks of the season Caleb Johnson's had, you can't be giving up opportunities like that.
He got the stare, Greg, didn't he? He got the Aaron Rodgers stare.
The problem is you get the Aaron Rodgers stare from one side and then the Tomlin stare from the other side. You've got nowhere to go, pal. Rodgers in the gun, 3 right, 1 left is DK Metcalf. Calls out something in the protection, spots the mic and has Gainwell in alongside him. Rodgers just takes a moment to check the play yet again with 3 wide to the right. He is going to take a 4-step drop back, rolls out to his left-hand side, evades pressure. Rodgers on the scramble, out to the 30, down to the 25, down to the 20. First down, Pittsburgh Steelers on the Aaron Rodgers scramble, but the ball comes out right at the end, and the man falling on it for the Pittsburgh Steelers looks like it's possibly number 77, Broderick Jones. So much just happened in that last 10 seconds. Rodgers looking like 30-year-old Rodgers again before he fumbles the ball, and Broderick Jones saving the turnover.
That was a great forced fumble by Jonathan Grenard. It's the second straight week Rodgers has had an ugly fumble, and both times the Steelers have recovered it.
2-minute warning, Dublin, Ireland. The Steelers a chance to go 3 up in the game. You're listening to live and exclusive coverage of NFL in Ireland for the first time ever here on talkSPORT 2. The 2-minute warning in Dublin, Ireland. Miles Smith on his way for a massive half-time show. Gregg Rosenthal has headed down. He's off to do the TV coverage shortly. Henry Hodgson will be joining us just after half-time, the NFL UK and Ireland general manager, to reflect on what a phenomenal event this has been so far. But it's only been phenomenal for one team on the field at the moment. 14-3, the Pittsburgh Steelers lead the Minnesota Vikings, and at the 2-minute warning, they've got a 1st and 10 at the Vikings 15 with a chance to make it a 3-score game before we're even at halftime. And this is not the Steelers' performance any of us expected.
No, and this is
Simon.
This is classic Aaron Rodgers as well. And what he did on that last play, I think we need to, the way he evaded pressure, he moved back inside, he faked a throw, and so he got the defender to jump and then evaded, younger, faster, fitter men, and was able to pick up the first down. I know he fumbled at the end, but it was an outstanding play to pick up that first down, and the Steelers keep on driving. I'm
not sure he's going to be going for another one of those anytime soon, however. One a game, at the most, at 41 years old, feels like the sensible thing to do, right? Breaks the huddle, gets under centre. He's got 2 in behind him, Kenneth Gainwell and a tight end acting as a fullback, and the ball is faked to Gainwell, out to the left-hand side, finds Darnell Washington, down to the 11, down to the 10, he makes a man move inside for a 6'7", absolute enormous human being, a lovely little evasive move, picks up 6 on the play in the end, and that will now be, they're calling it 2nd and 5 with the ball at the 10.
Darnell Washington was 6'7", 265, as he said. When he was at Georgia, he leaped over a man in the SEC. That is not a joke. He literally leaped over a man, and that's the kind of athlete we're talking about. And it took 3 Vikings just to bring him down there.
I didn't understand the Jonnu Smith trade necessarily in the offseason because I love Darnell Washington so much, but actually Arthur Smith has got them purring right now, and when they played worse defenses they've been this good, but today against a good one they've been very good. Right, sending a man in motion right now. Aaron Rodgers is in the gun, 1 alongside him. DK Metcalf and Darnell Washington out to that right hand side. He looks that direction, but a man getting into the backfield. A huge sack on the play for Jalen Redmond. Yet again his 2nd sack of the day, and that's going to be a huge loss for the Pittsburgh Steelers, forcing them into a 3rd and long.
Straight up the middle. I think Mason McCormack got beaten there. Jalen Redmond just ragdolled Aaron Rodgers. He just picked him up and just chucked him to the ground like he was a child's toy. I think what's interesting, you talked about Washington and the way they use those tight ends. The thing to me is that neither Freiermuth and Jonnu Smith are particularly good blockers. Jonnu Smith especially not. Jonnu Smith is just a big wide receiver. Pat Freiermuth not a particularly good blocker. And they really haven't been able to get the most out of Darnell Washington, because he's had to do a lot of their dirty work in the blocking game, because he is an athletic tight end. He can pick up yards after the catch. He's got good hands, but they need him as that guy who's going to be able to block. Can he take on a 5 technique in the run game? Because the other 2 can't.
The Steelers fans in the stadium have seen the replay of that on the screen, and they are questioning if Jalen Redmond maybe had a horse collar on Aaron Rodgers as he pulled him down there. I think as we saw the replay from the back, it looks like Redmond had his hand on the nameplate but released the fingers and didn't drag him down by it. It was close though, and I've definitely seen them called before. However, it's now a 3rd and 16 from the 20-yard line. They need the 5 to get a 1st and goal, 20 for the touchdown. Rodgers with the low snap has to go over the middle to Kenneth Gainwell. Gainwell to the outside, out to the 13, out to the 12, down to the 11. Gets a big load of those yards back, maybe 9 of the 10 that they lost on the sack, but that is now going to be a 4th and 6 from the 11-yard line. The Vikings take a timeout to stop the clock to try and make sure that they can go and get a score on offense, and the goal and the field goal team come out for the Pittsburgh Steelers.
Great tackle by Josh Metellus. Aaron Rodgers looked left straight away because he had DK Metcalf one-on-one against Isaiah Rodgers, but yet again Harrison Smith rotated down across the top, and Aaron Rodgers, to his credit, played it safe. He took the 3 points essentially. You know, Kenneth Gainwell probably wasn't going to pick that up. It was a short pass, 3 defenders going to him. Metellus makes the tackle. In the past you might have seen Aaron Rodgers try and force that ball down to DK Metcalf, but he didn't. Chris Boswell comes on, and the hope is that they'll extend their lead to 17-3.
So yeah, Chris Boswell out for this one. He's had a sensational season so far. 5 of 5 on the season. Field goals. 2 of those over 50 yards already. 7 of 7 on PATs as well. This one just a 30-yarder on the right hash. Ball is down. And the kick is blocked. The kick is blocked from the Vikings briefly with Ivan Pace Jr. had a chance to return it. He fumbles it, but it's Isaiah Rodgers again, the hero last week, getting in, blocking the field goal, and they've managed to restrict them to 0 points on that long drive. Potentially a momentum shifter for the Minnesota Vikings.
I mean, Isaiah Rodgers needs to get on the phone to his agent at half-time because he needs a better contract. What he's done for the Vikings in terms of turnovers over the last couple of weeks is astonishing. And he comes around the corner there, comes around the edge, off of the right side, and blocks the field goal. And, you know, those are the sorts of things. There's 1:38 left. Those are the kind of momentum shifters, because everything, the whole stadium, the vibe in the stadium, the Steelers sideline has been, you know, it's very much kind of, you know, we're going in, we're going to score, we're going potentially a 21-3 lead at half-time. Now all of a sudden, it's not even a 17-3 lead. Vikings are going to get the ball back. They've held 1:38 to potentially try and either score, but probably Kevin O'Connor's thinking, okay, let's just get down into field goal range. 17-6 at half-time is not the worst situation.
And look, you said it there, 17-6 is the worst situation, but 91 yards, 1:38 on the clock, and a timeout. How do you call this? If you're Kevin O'Connell, you know you've got a backup tackle in, you know you've got your backup quarterback in. You can't just rely on the short game. You need to get some chunk plays. You need Justin Jefferson to get involved in a big way. He's not had a bad game so far, but something needs to happen to really get this offense into gear.
This is rock and a hard place for Kevin O'Connell. They've got 1 timeout left. They're at their own 9-yard line. What they don't want to do, most of all, is have Carson Wentz turn the ball over. But you've got Justin Jefferson. You know, you've got guys who can make big plays down the field. We saw earlier on, welcoming back Jordan Addison with that back shoulder catch. They need to try. He's going to need to try and at least push the ball down the field once. But Kevin O'Connell will be in his ear as the play clock ticks down before it gets to 15, before it gets cut out. Just repeating, do not turn it, do not force the ball, because you don't want to give Aaron Rodgers the ball back now, having done what you've done on defense and then block the field goal, for then the Steelers to score again.
Wentz is 12 of 11 today for 93 yards. Like, he's been accurate apart from one tipped ball at the line of scrimmage which turned into an interception. Like, it's been a lot of short game other than the big 22-yarder to Justin Jefferson, but the run game really hasn't got going yet. Jordan Mason 9 of 28 for 3.1 yards average so far. Like, as Brown-Eyed Girl rings around Croke Park here in the north side of Dublin, and the Dubliners get singing along to this Irish classic. Is that fair? I think we'll hear more of those in the second half of this game.
It is so loud here. The atmosphere here, Will, is genuinely. It's genuinely. I've got a headache just from.
That's just me shouting in the rear, though. Carson Wentz in the gun, brings a man in alongside him, and has 2 wide to the left, 2 wide to the right. Justin Jefferson is the man wide right, and that's where he's going to look for the shot play early. He has to pump fake, goes for the check down instead, out to the 20-yard line. Nice play there to Xavier Scott after it was clear the deep ball wasn't available. Has the pump fake, checks it down, gets the first down.
Kevin O'Connell's heart would have been in his mouth then, because Carson Wentz pump faked in his own end zone with a pass rush coming in. So clock running, but you know, he didn't turn the ball over, didn't force it. That's the important thing. Don't force the ball, don't turn it over.
1st and 10 at the 19-yard line. And a huge personal foul penalty called for roughing the passer on the defense. Again, I didn't quite hear who Brad Allen said that was in our headphones here, but that's going to add 15 yards onto the end of the play. Will place the ball on the 34-yard line and stops the clock.
Yeah,
stops the clock,
very important.
gives them 15 yards. Huge moment.
And that is just not the sort of football that you see from a Mike Tomlin team. It's not. Those sorts of mistakes, critical mistakes. Now look where the ball is. 20 yards, 25 yards, they're in field goal range.
So 34-yard line, Vikings in the huddle. Steelers defense, who have been so good so far in this game, restricted the Vikings to just 3 points, and Carson Wentz desperately needs to add to that score here as they break the huddle. Back up right tackle Justin Schoolham around side of that line. He's got 3 to the right, including TJ Hawkinson and Justin Jefferson. 2 to the left as he goes 5 wide yet again. Now brings that running back Xavier Stott back in line. Stomps his foot, looks for the play. He's looking to that left-hand side immediately. Jordan Addison, but he goes deep to Xavier Stott, and it's in and out of his hands, right around the Pittsburgh Steelers 40. A difficult deep ball looking for Xavier Stott when everyone thought he was going to Jordan Addison. It's difficult to call that a drop, but if it's Jefferson, if it's Addison, you think they probably come down with that.
He had him. It speaks of the confidence they have in Xavier Stott that he's even out there. But he was one-on-one with Patrick Queen, running towards the sideline. It was a good throw from Carson Wentz. You've got to make that catch, Will. You've got to make that catch. And if he makes that catch, all of a sudden you're not just thinking about field goal then, you're thinking about touchdown. 2nd and 10. Patrick Queen mugged up to the line. They bring Deshaun Elliott up as well. They are showing potentially extra pressure. They do. They bring 6, maybe even 7 as well on the same bits. Wentz over the middle to Justin Jefferson, out to the 50, right on the NFL logo. First down, Minnesota Vikings, and Carson Wentz under huge pressure from the Pittsburgh Steelers finds his man Brandon Eccles on the tackle, but that's a big 16-yard pickup to keep this drive going. They're going to go hurry up. Wentz in the gun. It's Xavier Stott alongside him. He's got time in the pocket, pulls it down, has to run out to the right-hand side. Maybe Scott could be an outlet for him. He is down at the 41, toe tap catch, and out of bounds. They call it a catch, and that's a nice pickup considering the way that play broke down. It'll now be 2nd and about 3 yards from the Pittsburgh Steelers 42. Back-to-back excellent plays from Carson Wentz. The first one is stay strong in the pocket, stay tough. It was getting cloudy around him, and we know he doesn't like that, but he had one-on-one coverage against on the outside against Brandon Eccles with Jefferson. Good catch, and then there, pressure again. He floods the pocket, he comes outside and hits Xavier Stott, picks up, sets him into a 2nd and 3 situation.
Everyone's begging Terrell Austin to throw more at them. When you throw something at them and you've got a player like Justin Jefferson, they can do something under pressure. Wentz in the gun, 5 wide. Again, he's got time, steps up in the pocket, under pressure, out the 45, finds Jefferson, at the 20, wide open, 15, he slips on the turf, down to the 12-yard line. That was possibly a touchdown as Jefferson smashes the ball into the ground in frustration. But a huge pickup, Peyton Wilson eventually on the tackle, and now it's going to be 1st and 10 from the Steelers 13 clock at 37 seconds, 36. They choose not to take the time out. The Vikings, they're going to look to get a play off. Instead, Wentz stomps his foot, has options to the left. He looks to that side. Instead, he's under some pressure, goes for a little pitch out to Xavier Stott. Scott brought down right around the 15-yard line with Patrick Queen. But you've got to say, as the timeout comes in for the Vikings and they stop the clock with 22 seconds remaining, they lose 2 on the play. But Wentz with that little pitch toss avoids them losing 6 or 7.
Is this 2017 where we've got classic Aaron Rodgers versus classic against classic Carson Wentz? What a drive Wentz has put together under pressure, because Terrell Austin is sending guys from all over here, and Wentz has done a phenomenal job. The previous play where he found Jefferson, he had to step up into the pocket, and he sees Jefferson comes open late and unfortunately loses his footing, and there on that play he's about to get sacked. A little underarm sort of toss, a little underarm flick to Scott. 24 seconds, added 2 seconds back, 24 seconds left, 2nd and 12. But now you're probably, don't force it, but you might want to take one little fade into the end zone. They're probably going to double up Jefferson, but where's Addison? Where's Jalen Naylor? Somebody's going to get open for Carson Wentz. Can he find the right guy?
Yeah, only seen the one. No catches for Naylor yet in this game. Addison, 3 catches on 2 targets. 2 catches on 3 targets. Sorry, Jefferson 6 for 6. Wentz in the gun, the noise deafening. Hawkinson on the move, 2 wide, right, 2 wide left. 5 straight brought back for Wentz. Goes to Hawkinson on the left-hand side, fumbles the ball and it goes out of bounds around the 9-yard line. Went to pick up about 6 on that one, but it was behind his back shoulder. Not a great throw from Carson Wentz.
It's a good drop there. If he catches that ball, he's probably going to be ruled in bounds, and the clock will tick. They probably have to spike the ball on 3rd down to the south of the field goal. It's a good drop.
So 3rd and 12 from the 15-yard line, 20 seconds remaining. The Steelers still with 2 timeouts of their own. Could elect to take one if they don't manage to get the first down here and end up settling for the field goal. But Wentz in the gun. Xavier Scott alongside him, the noise inside Croke Park, absolutely deafening. What can the backup quarterback do as he claps for the ball, rolls out to the right, goes for a big air ball to Addison in the back of the end zone, and it should be an interception, but he goes out of bounds. Darius Slay, maybe the moon ball was a little too far for him, but I thought he had a real option to bring that one down and force a turnover.
I said a few minutes ago that Kevin O'Connell's heart would have been in his mouth. I think his heart would have been out of his mouth at that point. I mean, I
think it's still on the sideline over near the Gatorade over there.
That is the one thing he would not have wanted Carson Wentz to do, which he kind of got caught between, am I going to throw it to my guy or am I going to throw it away? And he sort of did neither, and he looped up a sort of moon ball, and for 2 or 3 seconds we weren't sure where it was going to end up. And right at the back of the end zone, Thornhill couldn't keep his feet in bounds.
So for the second time today, the Minnesota Vikings march the ball down the field, get into the red zone. Jalen Ramsey goes very, very early on that. It's a 4th and 12, so he actually kind of has the option to do so and have the offsides. And that 5 yards isn't going to cost them too much because they're not going to suddenly go for it on 4th and 7. But
veteran player knowing the situation, Will.
Yeah, he just decided, I'm going to try and jump and I'm going to try and get to this one. So instead it's going to be 4th and 7 from the 15 as Will Reichard sets up for this one. 7 of 7 on the season, including 1 of 1 today already. He's yet to miss a kick. I said that about Chris Boswell earlier and it got blocked. Can I be the reason it happens again? Ryan Wright into hold. Ball comes down, ball is up, kick looks very good to me. Through the uprights, 12 seconds remain in the first half. The Pittsburgh Steelers lead the Minnesota Vikings 14-6. They get the ball back to start the second half, the Vikings. If the Steelers choose to kneel this out, don't try and do something with the 2 timeouts to get in field goal range. Actually, on the overall balance with the turnovers, with the deep shots to DJ Metcalf, with everything else considered, I think you're taking being only a touchdown and a 2-point conversion behind.
If you're Kevin O'Connell, Carson Wentz has done almost exactly what you wanted him to do beforehand. They probably haven't run the ball as much as, they started off early running the ball. They probably haven't run the ball as much in the second quarter. But if you're Kevin O'Connell, if you're Carson Wentz, you're going to be really happy about what they've done. They've not forced the ball. They've not turned the ball over beyond the tip. A tip ball is a tip ball. But overall, they've maintained control. Carson Wentz has stayed in schedule, and he's made some plays when he's needed to. And now I would imagine the Steelers will, unless they get a big return here, I'd imagine they'll leave it out. We'll go to half, and it's a tight game.
They'll come on Eileen as well. Miles Smith will be entertaining us at half-time. I mean, I am that sucker who it does not matter at the wedding if this is the most cliched song that comes out. If I can be spinning around and singing along to this, then I absolutely will be.
I mean, are we in Temple Bar or are we at Croke Park? I can't work out which. What a song.
Yeah, give it about 4 hours and we'll be in the former rather than the latter. Let's be honest, tonight, I mean, just keep an eye off my social media ideally, because I am slightly concerned. Don't forget talkSPORT USA on YouTube. You can be watching this commentary as well as listening along on talkSPORT 2 as the deep shot actually doesn't get into the end zone and they will bring it out to the 20, down to the 24. Kenneth Gainwell, he goes down around the 24-yard line of the Pittsburgh Steelers and in the process takes 6 seconds off the clock. That's the perfect kick from Will Reichard. It's in the landing zone, it's short of the end zone. You force them to bring the ball out. It's kind of what Cairo Santos should have done the other week, and instead the Steelers surely are just going to come out and kneel this one and send us to the half.
Even Kenneth Gainwell returning it was like, nah.
Maybe.
Do I really want this? By the way, is that the first time Dexys Midnight Runners in the NFL have kind of collided head on head?
I'm not getting the reference, I'm sorry.
Come on, Eileen. No?
No.
My God.
Oh,
How old are you?
Yeah, I'm 40, 41 maybe. I don't even know anymore. But yeah, that made you sound old.
Significantly older than I am.
I'm so sorry. Yeah, they are going to come out. They go into, victory formation, but they are going to kneel the ball down. Aaron Rodgers taking a knee. And as the clock hit zeros in this first half, the Pittsburgh Steelers go in at halftime with a 14-6 lead over the Minnesota Vikings. They came out and on the opening play of the game, Aaron Rodgers was sacked for 10 yards and we all feared the worst. We thought this Vikings defense is going to be too much for them. The offense hasn't shown us enough so far. The Vikings take an early lead. Will Reichardt's 41-yard field goal gets them 3-0 up. And then two masterful drives. One, a big 9-play, 71-yarder, 5:29, Kenneth Gainwell 1-yard run. And then a 1-play, 80-yard DK Metcalf touchdown gives the Steelers the big lead. The Vikings settle for a field goal late in the half, meaning they're 0 of 2 in the red zone opportunities. And at 14-6 at the half, you've got to give it to the Pittsburgh Steelers. They have to be very happy with what they've seen.
Yeah, I think both teams will. This is a really good game. It's a really good, tight game. You know, big players making big plays. Aaron Rodgers playing really well. Carson Wentz playing within himself. Defensively, the Steelers have done what they want to do in terms of getting after the quarterback with sacks, with big plays, those sorts of things. Setting up perfectly for a big second half.
We see this is a proper halftime production. I'm never sure anymore. I mean, next week Ray is in London for halftime.
Unbelievable.
Absolutely unbelievable.
Oh, you've heard of Ray, have you?
I have heard of Dexy's Midnight Runners as well, mate. It's just, you know, the reference didn't quite cross my path in the right way. Listen, Miles Smith, they are doing a proper halftime production here. This is almost Super Bowl levels with the stage rolling out with everything else going on the field. A lot of the fans have stayed in the stands. We've got people coming out onto the field ready for this one. Absolutely loving the occasion here in Croke Park, Dublin, Ireland, with the Pittsburgh Steelers up 14-6 on the Minnesota Vikings, live and exclusive here on talkSPORT 2. Niners, we're here in Dublin, Ireland, though, for the first game of 14 hours of live NFL coverage on talkSPORT 2 today. Don't say we don't treat you back at home. And listen, this has been absolutely sensational as an event, as an occasion, as the Pittsburgh Steelers up 14-6 on the Minnesota Vikings. I'm Will Gavin, Simon Clancy still with me, and Brian T. Smith of talkSPORT.com is alongside us now. Brian, what did you make of that first half?
It's the Aaron Rodgers show. I mean, Aaron Rodgers has to finish this off, Will, but that 80-yard pass, his precision, I'm amazed that Brian Flores' defense, and maybe they're going to make adjustments at halftime, but Brian Flores' defense has not been able to get to him yet. When they get to him, he can't do anything. He's a 41-year-old Aaron Rodgers, but he's so polished out there, and he's seeing the field, and he's beating Brian Flores right now.
The thing is, the bounces are definitely going their way. Simon said that earlier. A sack to open the game we thought might be a really tough indicator for them. But take, for example, the 15-yard run. Where was that from Aaron Rodgers in the last 10 years? That's not the man he's needed to be. But then fumbles it at the end of it, and Broderick Jones falls on it, and so, you know, it's those inches that a game like this can really make a difference.
He looks confident. He looks very smooth operating this offense. And when he had that 80-yard touchdown, there's a viral video where he's got his arms raised, but Mike Tomlin's pointing at him, and the connection that they have. Mike Tomlin is the reason that Aaron Rodgers wanted to go to the Steelers, and it is working for them right now.
Chris Boswell about to get us underway for the second half, kicking just short of the end zone. Will be brought out to the 10, 15, 20. Decent blocking upfield for the rookie returner. Miles Price gets out to about the 32-yard line outside the numbers, and that's where Carson Wentz will start this next drive. Just quickly on the atmosphere, Brian, what you've experienced being here as an American in this country and enjoying the vibes.
This is the second time that I've been in Dublin. I was able to do Portrush, Belfast, Cork, and Dublin with my wife a couple months ago. Being back here and seeing the NFL and the Irish flag, and it is packed and it is loud, and there's so much passion. When I think of Dublin and I think of Ireland, I think of passion, and I just think the crowd has been absolutely amazing, Will. They have absolutely nailed this.
Carson Wentz under center, fakes the handoff, the quick screen, and then hands the ball off to Jordan Mason, who picks up maybe 3 yards on the run up the gut. They've not been able to get that run game going so far in this game. Simon Clancy, Michael Juergens is the man snapping the ball to Carson Wentz because Ryan Kelly is being assessed for a concussion. That's potentially a huge loss to a line that's already lost Brian O'Neill today.
You've got Christian Darrisaw coming back off injury. He's not 100%. Donovan Jackson, the rookie, the first rounder, is struggling with injury. Kelly out. Will Freeze obviously is there. Brian O'Neill out. You've got Justin Schooler. This is a makeshift line.
It is Wentz in the gun, ends up going for the toss outside to Mason, and he is wrapped up and put down by Peyton Wilson. The maligned Peyton Wilson going into this week is having himself a huge game. Hits him back at the 30 for the loss, and it'll be a 3rd and 11 with 14 minutes left in the third quarter. This is not how the Vikings needed to start the second half.
That's what Peyton Wilson did in college. That's what Peyton Wilson should be doing. Pass coverage, using his athleticism, brilliant play.
Wentz in the gun, Mason alongside him, 3 receivers right, 1 receiver to the left is Justin Jefferson in the X. They are showing pressure up front. Arlston has brought some blitz today. They do bring 5 with Queen on the outside. Wentz has time in the pocket, but eventually is brought down in the middle. Flag on the play. Nick Herbig with the sack, and it's holding on the offense. That's a huge, huge moment again for Nick Herbig with his 2nd sack of the day, and the Vikings will go 3 and out.
Well, you can Patrick Green had the sack. Nick Herbig had the sack. Patrick Green was going to have the sack, and then he got pulled down to the ground. Nick Herbig comes in behind him.
Yeah, well, and you can see Carson Wentz is not seeing the field right now. He's taking way too much time, and if you're the backup and you're in this crowd and you're playing the Steelers, you've got to get rid of the ball.
Jordan Mason absolutely hauls him to the ground. They rush to the line quickly on this punt as if they're going to go for a fake and then actually set back up for the punt. I think maybe they were seeing what look they got. The ball does go back to the punter. Sounds from the 10, high arcing ball to the 30. It is returnable by Calvin Austin, but he's got 3 men on him immediately, back to the 25, and is absolutely roped to the ground on that one. Huge stop from the Vikings special teams unit, but the Steelers are going to have a chance to extend their lead now.
Danny Smith, the venerable Steelers special teams coach, is furious, head in his hands, because Austin caught the ball, turned back on himself, ran back towards his own end zone and was tackled. I was watching Danny Smith, he was having an absolute fit on the sideline as that happened.
Right, Aaron Rodgers then out for his opening drive of the second half. 14-6 up the Pittsburgh Steelers on the Minnesota Vikings. 13:09 remaining. Live and exclusive coverage from Dublin here on talkSPORT 2. Will Gavin, Brian T. Smith now alongside me with Simon Clancy. Gregg Rosenthal will join us a little later in the second half. He's been off doing TV, swanning off.
Greg's a big guy. Greg's a big deal, Will. you can't lock him down. He's like the Michael McCoy. He's everywhere here.
Love it, absolutely love it. Look, if you are now at this point, Brian Flores, Simon has to make some adjustments in this second half to deal with that quick game, to deal with how heavy they're going up front with all those 13 personnel, even 14 personnel at one point in that first half. They've got to figure this out.
Fascinated to see what he does. Well, this is the key to the game now. What has Brian Flores done at halftime to try and shut down what Aaron Rodgers has countered? And Rodgers is going to be loving this. Like, Rodgers is a huge fan of the history of the NFL, but he's also a huge fan of coaches who are really, really well liked.
It's a chess match right now. This is Aaron Rodgers versus Brian Flores. Who's going to win this? Who is smart enough to figure this out in Dublin?
Absolutely, and that's what Rodgers loves most of all. He loves these moments. Can he outfox Brian Flores? So again, Mike Tomlin will be saying to him, and Arthur Smith, do not turn the ball over. What works in the first half, continue to get that to work.
Downgraded to out with a knee injury.
I think that was just the confirmation over the speakers that Brian O'Neill is downgraded to out with a knee injury, having previously been questionable. No further word on Ryan Kelly at the moment, but it'll be the Steelers offense now out on the field. Aaron Rodgers, huddle, still in that timeout.
How different does Aaron Rodgers look right now compared to with the Jets that we saw last year in London? He's just a completely different quarterback playing a Brian Flores defense again.
Brian T. Smith, wonderful stuff from you. Henry Hodgson's about to join us, so I'm going to have to boot you off the mic.
I will have to give up my headphones.
To the NFL.
Thank you for having me on, Will.
GM, always Brian T. Smith. And check out the fine work that Brian T. Smith does at talkSPORT.com and also on the NFL YouTube channel, talkSPORT USA. Here he is, the venerable Henry Hodgson, alongside Simon Clancy. Gregg Rosenthal will be joining us shortly as well. But Aaron Rodgers comes in under centre. DK Metcalf and Calvin Austin to the left of the line. Heavy set to the right, toss to Kenneth Gainwell. Outside the number, still 25, wrestled down right around the line of scrimmage. No gain on the opening play. And Simon, this is what we're talking about. They need to be reading those moments much better, this defense.
Harrison Smith there attacking the line of scrimmage, worked through traffic, pulled down Gainwell. That's exactly what you want to see from a future Hall of Famer. Rodgers talked about him in the week. And that, to me, Harrison Smith was dropping off deeper into coverage in the first half. Brian Flores already has him much closer to the line of scrimmage.
They'll call it a tackle for loss, 2nd and 11 from the 25. This time Rogers comes out under centre. Gainwell still in the backfield, sends Calvin Austin in motion from right to left. DK Metcalf singled up on the right-hand side. Rogers checks the play at the line. Does hand the ball off into the gut of Gainwell. Gainwell out to the 32-yard line, eventually wrestled down by, I believe, Javon Hargrave in on that tackle. And that will be about a 7-yard gain. They're going to call it a 3rd and 4 from the 37-yard line.
They had Spencer Anderson there playing as a sort of an extra offensive lineman, so they went jumbo on the left side. So they had Broderick Jones at left tackle, Spencer Anderson sort of left tackle, and then Darnell Washington, the big 265-pound tight end. And
it's basically an 8-man offensive line at that point, right? For the first time today, we have Vikings fans in this stadium really getting loud on 3rd down, 3rd and 4. Rogers in the gun, stops his foot, 3 receivers to the left, checks the play at the line of scrimmage. Gainwell alongside him, 2-step drop back, goes for Gainwell in the check down, opportunity in the flat, and it's a tackle on the outside numbers. Gainwell doesn't make it back to the line of scrimmage. Eric Wilson, the linebacker, in on the tackle, and they will force the Steelers 3 and out to open the second half. I mean, exactly what this Vikings defense needed. We'll wait for the punt, and then we're joined on the call by NFL UK and Ireland royalty, the GM of NFL UK and Ireland, and a man too humble to accept such terms, so immediately smiled at that. Henry Hodgson is with us, so let's just make sure we're not going to miss a punt return by going to him, and then we will be back. Back to receive this one is the rookie Miles Price, and he's hit right around the 19-yard. Huge special teams play from Ben Skoranek, but 2 flags coming in on that one. I think they're going to say he went in a little low, or maybe, I mean, it looked physical. I'm not sure it definitely looked like a flag, but they both came in quick.
I assume it was a low. I mean, who knows? Some of the calls, I've been watching some of the college football last night, some of the calls that are happening there in terms of some of the targeting stuff. Who knows what targeting is in college football? But I mean, I didn't see an immediate foul there.
Right, while we wait for the call on that, Henry Hodgson does go actually.
It's 1st down, timeout.
Against the Vikings, and they're going to be forced back right towards their end zone. Henry Hodgson is now with us, NFL UK and Ireland GM. I mean, how do you sum up what you've seen around you over the last 2-3 hours?
It's really hard to, Will. This is fantastic to see. The fans here have really come out. Fans from Ireland, from the UK and the rest of Europe, and obviously fans from the US as well. It's fantastic to see, and a beautiful day as well in Dublin.
The comparison that we've had on the call from 2 different analysts joining us is this feels like a New Orleans Super Bowl. The way it's taken over every nook and cranny of the city, the way that you just feel football everywhere you go, every pub and bar is just completely absorbed in it. And like the last 2 days, I've had a whale of a time, I'm not going to lie.
Yeah, that was, I think, really the thing that we were most excited about when we started thinking about playing a game in Dublin, was just how this city really embraces these type of events, and obviously an NFL game probably more so than anything else. It really has, as you say, felt like Dublin has just been the NFL, Steelers fans, Vikings fans, and just football fans all week.
And look, the GAA aren't ones to necessarily let anybody come here and play at Croke Park, so it just shows the pull and power of the NFL and everything that you guys put into getting an event like this on.
Yeah, I mean, look, we've had some fantastic partners in Ireland to make this happen, to make this day and this week happen. The GAA and Croke Park have been right at the top of the list. The Steelers themselves, who obviously have that connection to Ireland, the Irish government, Dublin City Council, all of this has been a tremendous team effort, and I think that's why it's come out so well.
And that Rooney family connection, the Steelers ownership, who have pushed so hard to get a game here, who have been desperate. They had to be the first team to play here as far as they were concerned. How key have they been in all of this, and just how amazing has it been to see the Steelers take over the city?
Yeah, I mean, clearly none of this would have happened if it wasn't for the Rooney family history, their ancestry in Ireland, and their desire to bring their crown jewel, the Steelers, to Ireland to show people in Ireland what they can do, and they've been great partners through all of this.
Look, the commissioner said yesterday that they're definitely going to be back next year, 27. Like, when are we? I want to be back here next week, let alone next year.
I think the vibe right now is everyone would like to be back here next week. We'll have to see. We've said that we'd look at this after the game. We'll evaluate on our side. We'll evaluate on the Irish side, those stakeholders I just mentioned, and then make a determination on if and when we'll be back.
And I joke about being back here next week. Obviously, we're at Tottenham next week. 3 London games coming up as well. A big 4 weeks for you guys. How excited are you for what's coming up over these next 3 weeks?
Very excited. I'd say this is the first quarter. This game's the first quarter, so we've got 3 quarters to go. Got to keep our foot on the gas.
Absolutely love it. Thank you, Henry, so much for joining us as Carson Wentz comes out under centre, 1st and 10 from the 10. Jordan Addison goes in motion from right to left to join that side, and it's a fake play action. Wentz goes out to left-hand side, finds Addison. Addison can't bring it in around the 30-yard line, though. Airballed under massive pressure on that side, and it will be a 2nd and 10 from the 10. Henry, thank you so much for joining us. You're welcome to stay and do the call with us if you want.
I'm going to leave you with Gregg Rosenthal. I think he's probably better at this than I am.
I'm sure you're an incredibly busy man, so really appreciate it, sir. Thank you so much. Wonderful, wonderful stuff. Henry Hodgson joining us on the call. Simon Clancy here as well. Simon, Greg, Henry, all old friends. Big Dolphins fan as well with Simon. Like, it's lovely to see them up here engaging. Greg obviously had to immediately come out and take a photo of Henry being on the call as Wentz comes out in the gun. Mason alongside him brings Hockenson back into the line, so it's heavy set both sides, and the ball will go into the gut of Jordan Mason. Nice little step inside to maybe get 3 or 4, and the pile goes forwards, and he ends up getting about 7 yards on the run. It looked like he was going to be hit right around the line of scrimmage, and Mason does a sensational job to get a nice pick up there and make it a 3rd and manageable from the 17.
Rock and hard place football here for Kevin O'Connell, because the offensive line is down, it's hurting. You want to try and establish that run game and take the pressure off Carson Wentz, but if you can't move the ball, on the ground, you're going to have to put the ball up in the air, and obviously mistakes may follow. Critical play here.
That noise from the Steelers fans on 3rd and 3. Carson Wentz in the gun. He's trying to check, but it has to be hand signals. Steps his foot 3 times. Mason in front of him. 3-step drop back. Goes over the middle. Finds his man. It's Adam Thielen out a yard past the marker to gain 21-yard line. 1st down, Minnesota Vikings. First catch of the day for Adam Thielen.
That's why they brought him in. That's twice in this game on 3rd down. Carson Wentz has looked to Adam Thielen. That's been Carson Wentz's best throws of the game, really, are those slants when the ball gets out of his hand quickly.
Gregg Rosenthal back on the call with us. Simon Clancy and Will Gavin with you here at Croke Park, Dublin. 14-6 game, 9:44 left in the half, and the Vikings need something on this drive as Wentz puts the ball into the gut of Jordan Mason. Lovely little comeback run to get out to around 9 yards, and a first half where he really struggled, Jordan Mason, to get much going on the ground. 2 big runs on pretty much back-to-back plays for him, getting big pickups for the Vikings.
We've criticised Justin Schooler for his pass protection and what's happened early in the season. Greg mentioned it earlier on when he had a great block. Again, caving in that side of the offensive line so Jordan Mason can run in behind. And this puts the Vikings in a perfect situation, 2nd and 1.
So, under centre with Mason, the back behind him. Everyone lined up on the line of scrimmage to his right-hand side except for Justin Jefferson. And they will fake it, and Jefferson is available over the middle instead. It is a short pass to Mason, out to the 40, out to the 43-yard line. Big pickup on 2nd down. Gets about 15 on the play, and that will be out to the 44-yard line. Vikings 1st down.
Reliable hands, knows where to be. Great play call from Kevin O'Connell. You do see the difference there between Jordan Mason and maybe a more explosive back. There's been a couple plays in this game. That's maybe why he wasn't a 1st or 2nd round pick, but why he's turned into a good pro.
Undoubtedly. That offensive line, as was discussed, if you've just joined us, down their starting centre Ryan Kelly, Michael Juergens in, down Brian O'Neill out of the game with a knee injury. Justin School starting on the right-hand side, but they are getting push up front right now as the ball goes into the gut of Xavier Scott, out to the left-hand side, down to the 45, out to the 46-yard line, gets just beyond the line of scrimmage. The left-hand side of that line unable to get the same push, but getting back to the line of scrimmage, and it'll be 2nd and 10 from the 45.
Yeah, it's we talked about it earlier on. Xavier Scott was on the Colts practice squad. There's a UConn running back, and they're putting an awful lot on him without, Cam Akers, who's historically, has bounced around the league, but was a 2nd-round draft pick, played at Florida State, played with the Rams. Obviously Aaron Jones isn't playing, but a lot is going on Xavier Scott's play, especially on 3rd downs where he's having to stay in and help pass protect.
So 2nd and 8. Empty from Carson Wentz, takes the ball, 3-step drop back, looking to the left-hand side, ball in and out of the hands. Oh, that's a difficult drop to take for Jordan Addison. Deshaun Elliott, who is having himself an absolute day, hitting as the ball comes in, and now a 3rd and 8 and another chance for this Croke Park crowd to have an effect on this football game.
Yeah, I think these Vikings receivers know they're not going to catch that ball with a lot of room, a lot of quick hits from the Steelers on those plays. They see them coming.
Probably the best Steelers defensive performance we've seen of the season so far, as they do line up with 7 along the line of scrimmage, showing pressure. Wentz empty in the back. They do bring extra pressure off the left-hand side, and Wentz has a chance to scramble out to the 45, out to the 50, past the first down marker, an extra couple of yards as well, and Carson Wentz uses his wheels to get into Steelers territory.
Look at these two old guys running around, break and contain, picking up big first downs. Great job by Wentz. Saw the pressure coming. The Steelers had caved in that side of the line, and it was clear once he escaped the pocket, he was going to pick up the first down. And just a heady veteran play.
Yeah, Aaron Rodgers wishes he was in the 2016 draft. He's a young man compared to him.
He might have actually got the "Come on Eileen" joke earlier, Simon Clancy.
I mean, everybody got the "Come on Eileen" joke.
All right,
from you, Will.
44-yard line, Minnesota Vikings, 1st and 10, 7 minutes remaining in the second quarter. Wentz under centre, Mason in the backfield. Pressure brought again, lovely chip block from Mason, but it's not enough because the second man gets there. The ball is out, and it is the Vikings who fall on it. Wentz managed to avoid the first tackle, a brilliant shot block initially on Deshaun Elliott from Jordan Mason, but the second man got there, and that huge corner blitz off the right-hand side. Terrell Austin getting in his bag a little bit.
Not surprised there. Carson Wentz almost pulled his patented move where he ducks under the defender, but there was another Steeler in his way, and man, football sometimes comes down to fumble luck, and that was a massive recovery for the Vikings.
Yeah, Peyton Wilson it was who got over the top of Wentz. Deshaun Elliott in on it as well, and as he dropped the ball, he kicked it about 20 yards away from him, and now it's going to be a 2nd and 11 from the 45. Fake handoff. Wentz under pressure again, goes down, and again Keanu Benton hits him right around the 50-yard line. He'll lose 5 on the sack. And the Steelers defense are really feeling themselves up front right now.
That's a bold play call there from Kevin O'Connell. You just saw your quarterback get hit. It's 2nd and 11. You leave the protection kind of empty over there and put him in a place where he could make a mistake, and that's exactly what he did.
TJ Watt and Keanu Benton meeting at the quarterback, and that's not a meeting that I'd like to be in the middle of particularly. Carson Wentz in the gun, 5 wide again. Got Addison out to the left-hand side, and Thielen out there as well. He goes over the middle, ball is blocked to the line of scrimmage. TJ Watt takes it away from him, out to the 40, down to the 35-yard line. The pass is tipped. TJ Watt comes down with it, and the Pittsburgh Steelers have another takeaway, and up 14-6. They are putting Carson Wentz under duress time and time again. TJ Watt in the sideline in front of us, fired up. Wow!
I will not forget TJ Watt ripping his helmet off and asking the crowd, how do you like this? This Steelers defense is absolutely ravenous right now.
Croke Park, Dublin, are you not entertained?
Cam Hayward gets his hands on the ball, goes up in the air, and TJ Watt, like a big beach ball, comes down into his hand. But as Greg said, when he takes his helmet, he also gets the ball and punts it into the crowd. Fantastic.
Well, what a moment for TJ Watt with 5:15 left in the third quarter. Comes down with the interception after the tip from Cam Hayward. You talked about old men running around, Simon Clancy. What about old men on the defensive line getting it done?
Amazing. I mean, Hall of Fame players making big plays in big moments in big games. That's a great play. What I think is really interesting now for the Steelers is the Steelers have really got to take advantage of this now. You know, with the blocked field goal, the momentum sort of slightly went away. Here's now a perfect opportunity for them to really punch it in and take control of the game, Greg.
It's a boring point to make, but field position has been so massive here, because if you think about the Vikings today, they've moved the ball pretty well. The drive before halftime, that drive right there, they're starting near the goal line. But if you make Carson Wentz go on 15, 18-play drives, eventually this Steelers defense is going to make a big play. The Steelers, on the other hand, on offense, they've been big plays and short fields.
Yeah, and look, the blocked field goal, you give him 91 yards. He manages to get it down the field. They get a couple of big plays on that drive, including, of course, the penalty against them. But then in the red zone, they're struggling as well. So it just... Simon said it earlier, we've repeated it a couple of times, the bounces have very much gone Pittsburgh way today, but it does feel a little bit like you make your own luck for some moments here for the Minnesota Vikings.
That was making your own luck, because that was 3 straight plays, Simon, where the defensive line absolutely won over the Vikings pass protection, and they know that they're passing in those situations.
Yeah, absolutely. For the Steelers now, in Aaron Rodgers' head, I bet he's thinking, I'd love to take a shot now on first down.
DK? Calvin Austin getting involved in the game? Maybe you could throw to any other receiver. I want to go to Darnell Washington play because he's been sensational for this offense today. I didn't expect that the biggest sing-song of the day would be to Blink 182, but that appears to be where we are right now as we get the fixed cam on the big screen and the TV timeout going on. Greg, you went down and you were doing TV at half-time, but that Vikings drive to end the half, and it looked like they could try and bring things to within a score. The stop for the Steelers defense, like there've just been all those moments of momentum where you thought the Vikings might be turning it around and just couldn't get there.
They're just having to work so much harder, and I am really curious to see how this Steelers offensive line comes out in this drive. They could help put them away.
Stack receivers on the right, although a man that goes in motion for the Pittsburgh Steelers. Rodgers in the gun, low snap, fumbles it, but manages to pick it up and get it over the middle quickly to Darnell Washington at the 30, down to the 26-yard line, rumbling forward to pick up 8 yards on a play, which should have probably been a 5-yard loss.
I mean, Washington, we talked about him earlier on. We talked about him when Gregg had gone off, the man who jumps over other people in the SEC. He just couldn't be brought down. 3 or 4 men on top of him. But Rodgers dropped the ball there, and I think they had the coverage on the outside that they were looking for in terms of a potential deep shot. But he's just getting the ball out of his hands so quickly.
4:47 left in the third quarter, 2nd and 2. Clock is moving. Ball at the 27. 3 receivers to the right. Darnell Washington in line on the left, and Kenneth Gainwell in the backfield. Brings Ben Skoranek in motion across the formation, and Kenneth Gainwell will carry the ball out to the 21-yard, out to the 20. Gets the Steelers first down and more. Down to the 20, right on the edge of the red zone, and it's a first down, Pittsburgh.
They love Kenny Gainwell. First game of the year, their plan was to feature Kenny Gainwell, not Jaylen Warren. He's a running back that, look, in a Super Bowl, the Eagles trusted him to be their #1 running back 3 years ago, and they put it on the Chiefs defense that day. He's not going to be flashy, but very fundamentally sound, and I think he's the back that Mike Tomlin trusts today.
8 for 37, 4.6-yard average, but like you say, a long of 9, so it's all 4 yards, 5 yards. That's the kind of gains which they desperately need to keep this offense moving. Rodgers under center, heavy line to the right, and it will go to Kenny Gainwell on the toss. Gainwell outside 20, out to 19. Josh Metellus in on the tackle, gets him down to about the 14-yard line. Nice pick up, about 6 on first down, 2nd and 4 upcoming.
Good job again by Spencer Anderson. They keep bringing in. Earlier on they had him outside as sort of a double left tackle. He was out on the right hand side this time and just was able to seal off the edge there for Gainwell to pick up that 7 yards.
They're an athletic young offensive line. When they look their best, it's when you have Fautanu on the move, you're adding the 6th, even Broderick Jones, like when he gets out in space, it's a good offensive line.
Rodgers back under center again. It is a heavy line to the left-hand side once again, and they do send Calvin Austin in motion. DK Metcalf manned up on the right. Kenneth Gainwell in the backfield. It will go to Gainwell. He goes to that left sideline. Then sussed up out to the front, out to the forward, tripped up before he can get to pay dirt, but it will be a first down Pittsburgh and 1st and goal from the 4th.
Byron Murphy saves the touchdown there. It's a great tackle.
First and goal.
It's a great tackle.
Unbelievable tackle, just seeing it on the replay. It's a lovely move inside from him to actually get past Byron Murphy in the first place, but good adjustment from the defensive back and saves the Vikings conceding another 6.
Feels like a temporary stay of execution here, the way this offensive line is mowing them down.
It's a fair point, and we thought it was going to be one of the most difficult matchups of the day for them. Rodgers under center, Gainwell again in the backfield. Washington in motion. Gainwell gets the ball. They had an option to get him in the backfield. They don't get him in the backfield. Instead, he bundles his way into the end zone for a Pittsburgh Steelers touchdown. A second Kenneth Gainwell short yardage run of the day. 20-6, the Steelers now lead in the sunshine of Croke Park, Dublin.
Blocked beautifully, Greg. The motion Darnell Washington in from outside. Just blocked beautifully. You can't ask for more than that. If you're Mike Tomlin, if you're Arthur Smith, in terms of how that play worked out, that was just fantastic. And they just mashed them down the field. They didn't put the ball up for grabs. Rodgers, I'm sure, would have wanted to throw it, but just hand it off, hand it off, hand it off, hand it off.
Are we seeing a Steelers offense truly come back to life as Chris Boswell's extra point is good, giving the Steelers a 21-6 lead. 2:23 left in the third quarter here in Dublin, Ireland. The first game of 3 tonight, 40. We're back with NFL Live on talkSPORT 2. Will Gavin, NFL Daily's Gregg Rosenthal, the great Simon Clancy alongside me as well. 21-6. The Pittsburgh Steelers lead the Minnesota Vikings. The Vikings offense today have had the ball 25 minutes and 23 seconds to just 17 minutes for the Pittsburgh Steelers. They have moved the ball, they have had possession, but the turnovers have killed them. 2 interceptions for Carson Wentz. The ball tipped at the line of scrimmage on both of them. The offensive line dinged up, and right now they find themselves down 3 scores and in a big hole against a Steelers team who are absolutely feeling themselves.
Yeah, injuries are just so key here. Obviously the quarterback being injured, J.J. McCarthy. We also saw Carson Wentz. I saw him holding his hand at one point on the previous drive. Then he was holding his side. Greg pointed out he was holding his side. And those guys up front, Darryl Shaw, Jackson, both hurt. Ryan Kelly out. Brian O'Neill out. It's hard to move the ball against anybody in the NFL when you've got so many people injured.
Ball falls into the arms of the returner, Miles Price, out to the yard line, has a hole, has a block out to 40, 45, 50, 55, 40, goes out of bounds. There is a flag on the field down there. If that's coming back on the Vikings, it is a hold against the return team. That could have been a huge moment, but Chris Boswell is the man who tackled him out of bounds, which is still a massive moment anyway.
I'm going to say tackled in inverted commas, Will.
Well, he was hyped up when he was coming back to the sideline, that's for sure. However, that does go against the Vikings, and they're going to have to suddenly drive the ball a very long way again in a game, as Gregg Rosenthal pointed out, that has been so about field position today. That has just cost them 50 yards, maybe more, on having to bring that return back.
Yeah, they have started drives at the 10, at the 9, this one inside the 20. This is what Mike Tomlin loves, because he is all about trying to prevent that big play.
All right, Carson Wentz under center, that makeshift defensive line in front of him. Sean Elliott's showing a blitz and then drops out. There are 4 bringing pressure though as Carson Wentz goes for a deep shot to Jefferson. Jefferson underneath it, big coverage down there, lots of physicality. Mike Tomlin pumped up on the sidelines, but the ball sails over his head and it'll be 2nd and 10 from their own 18-yard line.
Got the one-on-one matchup on the outside with Darius Slay. I think Carson Wentz just threw it a little bit too far outside. If he throws it a bit more inside, he probably gives Jefferson more of a chance. But Slay was in great position and played it perfectly.
Is that Carson Wentz and Justin Jefferson not maybe having that connection yet? Because you have to trust a guy like Justin Jefferson to go up and make a contested catch in that situation. Throw it on his inside shoulder, give him a chance. Carson Wentz is back under centre again. They do send Jordan Addison in motion. It loops back around. Ball goes to Mason, and he's hit right at the line of scrimmage by Patrick Queen. Maybe gets a yard on the play, but Queen comes away from it screaming at the heavens, and he is hyped.
This is scary hours here for Minnesota. Right back into a 3rd and long. The NFL's crazy. I would never say never, but if you're punting the ball away at this point, the Steelers are in such a good position. This is a gotta have it down for Minnesota.
1:40 left in the quarter. 3rd and 9 on their own 19. Wentz in the gun. Can the backup do something special? Hopkinson in motion. Mason alongside him. 2 receivers to the right, 1 to the left. And he's brought down yet again. This Steelers defense is just in their face every single time. And the 2 men coming together at the quarterbacks. Keanu Benton yet again with TJ Watt alongside him. And the Steelers defense continue to make this makeshift offensive line eat their lunch.
What year am I in? I know Jerome Bettis is in the house tonight. I mean, this feels like a Bill Cowher Steelers team just dominating.
Just coming downhill, teeing off, Will. That's what's happening. And you've got veteran players now. They're juiced up on that Steelers defense, Greg.
Punt from his own end zone. Ball up in the air, high spiraling, but it's going to be caught at the 42 and a chance for Calvin Austin to return. Runs backwards out to the left-hand side, but he's maybe got a block in front of him. Down to the 50, out to the 48-yard line. Pushed out of bounds in the end by Ivan Pace Jr. Nice return for Calvin Austin, but he had to run about 80 yards to gain about 7 there. And the Steelers will start this drive in Vikings territory.
Danny Scott much happier on that one.
Even so, he did run backwards a good 10 yards to get what he got. Like Calvin Austin being a little bit risky with what he's doing.
That was a no, yes, Perella play.
Oh, very good, Greg. I mean, I thought the first drive the Steelers had, they were 3 and out. Yeah. We saw some great Vikings adjustments, particularly on that left-hand side of their defense, getting to Kenneth Gainwell, stopping him, and then after the turnover, giving up the touchdown has got to be absolutely back-breaking. So what do you do if you're Brian Flores in this situation? Get super aggressive, try and force the point, play your defense? Like, I just don't know how he adjusts at this point.
I think ultimately just sitting with their four-man rush, which has been the case much of the day, isn't going to work. The problem is the Steelers' offensive line is caving them in the running game, and if that continues, the game is essentially over.
I think they've found something here with this kind of jumbo 14 package, bringing in the extra offensive lineman and just pounding the ball. You know, Aaron Rodgers doesn't have to play hero ball every down, and I think that's what ultimately that's what Mike Tomlin wants. And I think that's how the Steelers are going to win games.
It is that offensive line. I'm looking into it going into this game, right? Isaac Seumalo is the one real veteran on that line and really hasn't played up to the level that he had for the Eagles. Zach Fraser's been excellent, right? But beyond that, Mason McCormick switched from left to right guard after he came out of college. Troy Fautanu switched from left to right tackle after he came out of college. Everyone else on this line is 2 years or younger in the league. Like, it has been a real problem for them. The communication hasn't been there. The Seahawks absolutely wrecked them up front by bringing force, stunting constantly, mugging up and dropping out. Like, they really fooled them. And I went into this game going, Vikings defense will do the same. This is going to be a cakewalk. And today they have absolutely played up above and beyond anything we've seen from them this season.
I think it's the path for the Steelers being a playoff team this year and achieving more than I think the outside expects. You look at where these players were drafted, and McCormick and Frazier, who are mid to late round picks, played really well as rookies. There is an upside here for this young offensive line to improve and get better altogether.
And when Gainwell scored that touchdown, you watch the offensive linemen coming off the field. They were so pumped up, jumping up and down, celebrating, because that's the kind of drive they like, going out and mashing people, and that's what they did.
They are bringing Spencer Anderson back into the game again for a heavy line, and he is announced as eligible, so it will be a 6-man line. Plus you've got Darnell Washington out there, so that's essentially 7. Jonnu Smith on the field as well. Heavy set for this team with DK Metcalf out to the left, and I think Calvin Austin on the right-hand side. One back in behind is Caleb Johnson, and that's where the ball will end up going. Outrun to outside, down to the 40, and past the 40-yard line, down to about the 38. Nice gain on that one, and they'll now have a 2nd and 1. And let's just pull the ball up front again as we go towards the end of the third quarter.
Might be the best player of Caleb Johnson's career as a pro. Exactly what he did at Iowa, one cut and go, and that was, what, 8-9 yard pick up there on first down across over the right side.
As we come to the end of the third quarter, the clock ticking down, 4, 3, 2, 1, and on this monumental day in Dublin, Ireland, the first ever game played on the Emerald Isles in the regular season, the Pittsburgh Steelers up 15 on the Minnesota Vikings with the ball in Vikings territory. 15 minutes the Vikings to turn this one around, or will the Steelers and that historic connection to Dublin come away from Ireland with the dub? We'll be back up next here on talkSPORT 2. The sing-along for Zombie is absolutely huge. I'm going to let it ring out for a moment around Croke Park, Dublin. Just soak this in. Oh, the Steelers ruined it by bringing Spencer Anderson in as a 6th lineman, and they had to dip it under the mic. Absolutely sensational. Just a little bit of update from the Ryder Cup. Victor Hovland is not fit enough to play his singles, and his match against Harris English has been declared a half point for Europe and the USA, meaning Europe need just 2 points now to retain the Ryder Cup. Aaron Rodgers under centre, 37-yard line, 2nd and 1. Quick throw to DK Metcalf on the outside, gets the first down and a little bit more on the outside. First down Pittsburgh at the 33-yard line of the Minnesota Vikings.
It's the same recipe, Greg, isn't it? It's the same recipe. Run the ball, stay consistent, don't put the ball up for grabs, get the ball out of your hands quickly. That's how Aaron Rodgers is defeating Brian Flores' defense.
I hate to be the body language doctor, but watching the Vikings walk from one end of the field to the other at the end of that quarter just felt like a defense that knows it has had a long day, and it's going to get longer.
1st and 10 on the 33. Rodgers in the gun now. Brings a man in alongside him. Has Caleb Johnson in the backfield. 3 receivers to his left in Skowronek, Austin and DK Metcalf. And he looks to that left-hand side and he'll go to Calvin Austin in the flat out to the 36-yard line. Nearly the first down marker, maybe 2 yards short. And that will now be a 2nd and 2 from the 25 of the Vikings. And there is a big way from Broderick Jones to get somebody onto the field immediately. Calvin Johnson. He's played well, Calvin Austin, but not quite that level. Calvin Austin is down on one knee, and Broderick Jones got the trainers over very, very quickly after that play. He does get up and walk off under his own steam, but Broderick Jones must have heard something from him, because he reacted like he was in some serious trouble there. However, he is walking off under his own steam and seems very frustrated about it, with 4 training staff around him. And they'll now not have Calvin Austin for at least the next play.
Our guy Dunner Washington also took a knee right after that play, but that's just because he's tired, because he has worked hard in this one.
I don't think he's missed a snap.
And he's constantly being put in motion on every play, as we find out that today's attendance of 74,512, absolutely phenomenal turnout here in Dublin. They announced it could be up to 82, but with the seating on the hill, that was always going to be reduced, and 74,000 for this first game here is absolutely phenomenal. And they've turned up and they've watched a show from the Pittsburgh Steelers, Greg.
Yeah, they've seen what the Steelers have to offer, which to me, big plays in the passing game with DK Metcalf, and then all these defensive stars and some new ones like Nate Herbig that you've gotten used to. This is what Steeler football is all about.
Yeah, and we talked about beforehand the offensive line and could they hold up. I think Broderick Jones and Troy Patano have done a phenomenal job against 2 really good pass rushers. They've given Aaron Rodgers the time because he's not been under the pressure. So, you know, Brian Flores has not been able to get home. He's been able to pick apart this defense, and that's been a key to the success for the Steelers.
So you mentioned the pressure. In this game, Aaron Rodgers has been under pressure on only 14% of his snaps. That is microscopic. If that happens every week, the Steelers will win a lot of games this year.
The comparison prior to this year, and obviously he had the huge yard after the catch to DK Metcalf, which is kind of going to boost us up. But he was leading the league in yard after the catch percentage, 73% versus Tua Tagovailoa, next closest at 59%. He was under pressure an absolutely enormous amount last week against the blitz. Only a 58% completion percentage, the worst pass yards per attempt, the worst total EPA in the league since he came in last year. Like, he has been under pressure for all of last year with the Jets, most of this year so far with the Steelers, and finally with a little bit of a chance. Yes, he's getting the ball out quickly. Yes, the offense is helping him, but I don't know where they came up with it. I don't know what the thought from Arthur Smith was, but they just went this week, right, the way we're going to beat these Vikings is we're going heavy, we're going 12, 13, even 14 personnel, and it's given Aaron Rodgers just the right amount of time to make it work.
And as Greg said earlier, an opportunistic defense is giving them short fields, and that's been really key.
It's hugely loud in here because the band are playing again as we have 14-11 left in the 4th quarter. The party is very much going. The Guinness is very much flowing around Croke Park. I can't wait to find out just how many pints have been sold in here, but we've seen plenty of them flung up in the air on the touchdowns today as towels whirl around, and it's going to be a huge night tonight across Dublin.
I've got a stat for you that blows my mind. We'll see if they can keep it going. They have a 78% success rate on their running plays, which would, be one of the best running games any team has had all season long. To me, that tells the story. That helps Aaron Rodgers. That's why he's only had to throw the ball 18 times, only 2 incompletions. They are basically doing whatever they want on the ground, and it's not all big plays.
Before today, 31st in the NFL in rushing yards, 31st in yards per carry. Big change today. Big difference. As the man in the backfield this time is Caleb Johnson alongside Rodgers. 3 receivers to the right-hand side. Scotty Miller coming into the game in place of Calvin Austin, Ben Skowronek and DK Metcalf both on that side as well. But it will be a run up the middle for Caleb Johnson to pick up the first down yardage, out past the 20-yard line, into the red zone. And that'll be a Steelers first down right around the 14-yard mark.
If I'm Aaron Rodgers, I'm not throwing again. Keep handing it off. But I'm serious, they are mashing them up front. And now they're in the red zone. And coming into this game, they've scored on 87.5% of red zone possessions, which was second in the NFL. Here's the opportunity to put the game away, even with 13 minutes left in the fourth quarter.
Rodgers under centre, 3 to his right. Darnell Washington again in motion from right to left. Scotty Miller to his right, DK Metcalf to his left, and Caleb Johnson still in the backfield. Washington goes in motion yet again. The ball goes to Johnson again. He runs over that right-hand side with Washington there. Maybe picks up a yard on the play, but he's met right at the line of scrimmage by the likes of Ivan Pace, by Jalen Redmond. And they're going to call it right at the line of scrimmage. It'll be 2nd and 9 maybe at the 18 if they're being kind.
So keep an eye on the after-play extracurriculars here, because I see Jonathan Grenard getting very upset after each play, thinking that the offensive linemen are getting extra shots in. The Vikings are sick of getting pushed around.
Jalen Redmond comes out of the game as they go for a 4 wide on the line. Ivan Pace sitting just off it, and on the offensive side, Caleb Johnson in alongside Aaron Rodgers. 2 receivers left, 1 to the right. He gives the ball yet again. Caleb Johnson makes a little step out to the 15, down to the 14-yard line. Harrison Smith in on the tackle, picks up only maybe 3 or 4 on that one. In this situation, field goal makes it a 3-score game, right? That's got to be in the consideration of just taking another 2-3 minutes off the clock and settling for 3.
Something dramatic has got to happen if Carson Wentz is piloting 3 touchdown drives from this point on.
It will be a 3rd and 6 from the 15.
I will guess that they are going to let Aaron Rodgers try to have his moment so that he can really enjoy that Guinness he's been talking about all week.
Yeah, I'm on the board with Greg here, and he does have stacked receivers, 3 of them to the left, 1 tight end to the right, and Kenny Gainwell now alongside him in the backfield. Sends Gainwell in motion and then calls a timeout before the play. Aaron Rodgers, the first timeout of the half. 11:25 left in the fourth quarter. Didn't necessarily like what you saw from the defense, and maybe when you're up this much, you don't need to worry too much about taking those timeouts.
Yeah, he motioned the running back out and didn't get the look that he wanted at that point, so it makes sense. You're ahead. The absolute worst thing you could do is turn the ball over here and give the Vikings any sort of hope.
He might have just wanted to take a timeout to get Darnell Washington back on the field, who looks a little gassed on the sideline. I'm looking at the numbers right now. Darnell Washington has 35 snaps today, which is about 90% after missing a couple. None of the other tight ends have more than 11, so they've really made a change in personnel, and you talked a lot about the 6th offensive lineman. I really think that decision with the personnel change has made a big difference in this game.
As they get back into the huddle, the Vikings defense, and back to that body language thing, all looking a little slumped-shouldered, all looking a little bit gassed at this point. They do put Jonnu Smith on the end of that line to make it a little heavier, and then send him in a little wheel motion back with Kenneth Gainwell there, and they will give Rodgers a chance to throw, and he will look to a man on the outside. It's Scotty Miller under some good coverage on that far left-hand side. And Byron Murphy Jr. a little too tight on the coverage, has to basically throw that one away, and they will have to settle for a Chris Boswell field goal. I mean, if you're the Vikings, I guess that's a win, but it's still going to be a 3-score game unless you get another block.
What Mike Tomlin and Arthur Smith will love is that wasn't a danger throw from Aaron Rodgers. That was not, let's risk a pick, let's risk a turnover, give the Vikings some momentum. That was sensible from Rodgers, as the kick is
up and good. Christian Kuntz actually snapped that a little bit low. Corliss Waitman had to readjust it on the floor. I thought for a brief moment we might see another miss for Chris Boswell, but he gets it up, he gets it good, and suddenly a 24-6 game, an 18-point game, meaning the Minnesota Vikings need 3 scores, and there are a little bit of afters on that one with the special teamers. Some drawing from the Minnesota Vikings in the center of the field there. Love to see it, Greg.
I'm just a dumb American, so it's called a little bit of afters.
A little bit of afters.
Okay,
after the play, a little bit of how's your father, a little bit of a little bit of back and forth, a little bit of.
I'm gonna bring that back with me to America, like I'm gonna bring the Percy Pigs after London next week.
Sensational.
Our guy Darnell Washington was right in the middle of that pile, and as the Vikings were walking off after the Steelers had clearly sort of won that melee, he was just standing there clapping as if to say, "Yeah, have some of that."
What's this reaction for at this point? It's the terrible towels going up into the air. What I saw was this is obviously some kind of video that they must be used to as the home fans, because what it is the Steelers defense getting in and making big sacks. But when I turned and looked at the screen, all I saw was Taylor Heineke on the screen. I was thinking, why has Taylor Heineke just received a cheer like that? But it's not. It's Alex Highsmith bringing down Daniel Jones. It's TJ Watt bringing down his man. It's Patrick Queen. It's this defense getting a lot of love from these fans.
This is Renegade by Sticks. Every Steelers fan knows at a home game, it's not at the exact same time every week. It's at the right time. And right now is the perfect time for all the Steelers fans all over the world to start partying.
There are thousands and thousands of terrible towels being waved all around this stadium. It's an incredible scene, Will.
It's wonderful to see, and as you say, all around us, the towels in the air, all around us, Steelers jerseys. Like the people of Pittsburgh have turned up for this game massively. We had American accents, all right. Even in the press box, we've got terrible towels going right now here on talkSPORT 2. And the reaction has been unreal from these fans. And now a chance for the defence to go and really put this game away.
I was sat with the MK Dons manager, Paul Warren, before the game, who didn't have a terrible towel. He was so upset.
Paul Warren, I'll double down on that. We were out with former world number 9 darts player Paul Nicholson last night.
Did he have a terrible towel?
He does have a terrible towel. He's wearing his TJ Watt jersey. He is a big Steelers fan, and it's the first time he's got to see them since 2013. As that kick is a nice little grubber going to the back of the end zone, out to the 25, out to the 30, on the edge of the end zone, sorry. And the Vikings will start with reasonable field position, about the 29-yard line, maybe the 30. As Carson Wentz, well, we joked earlier about him rolling it back to being 2017 Carson Wentz with a couple of those runs. Now they really need that man who came close to winning an MVP and ended up with a ring despite an injury, because they need 3 scores here. They need him to turn up, they need the defense to score, and they probably need to get out here and do something quick, Greg.
They started the last drive taking a shot to Justin Jefferson. Wouldn't be surprised if we see something like that.
Wentz is in the gun, does go to the outside to Jordan Addison. Addison, about 6 yards beyond the line of scrimmage, goes out of bounds. And actually, whilst not a big shot, getting out of bounds on these plays, doing those sort of things, like they are thinking about these things already. Like, it's wild.
This is pin your ears back time though for the Steelers edge guys. And the thing for Carson Wentz is it's one read and throw. He just doesn't have time to come off his first read.
Nate Herbig on the right of the line, TJ Watt on the left, Cam Hayward lining up right over the centre with Ryan Kelly out injured. Ball goes to Jordan Mason. Mason to the left hand side of the line, gets out past the 40, down past the first yard marker. It will be a first down for the Minnesota Vikings, but this is all just more time off the clock. Over a minute already on this drive. Where is the hurry up? Where is the rush right now from this Vikings
they're
team?
trying. They got a backup quarterback against the Steelers. They're going to snap this with about 20 seconds left, but they can't go faster.
Carson Wentz in the gun, has time, finds TJ Hockenson over the middle, right on the NFL logo, out past the 45, picks up maybe 6 on that one, and almost a bit of prevent defense on the back end from the Steelers right now. They're like, yeah, we'll give you 6 yards and take another 30 seconds off the clock, why not?
Yeah, Terrell Austin just trying to get home with 4, and then we'll just drop people back into coverage as the clock stops. And
I think it's an injury timeout possibly on the field as they come running out. Patrick Queen looked a little banged up on that play, and a trainer did come out to see him.
Cam Hayward was also slow to get up. They did end up having to use an injury timeout there. He's able to walk off the field surrounded by his coaches, takes off his helmet. He's such a tough player that he's not leaving that field unless something's wrong there.
No, absolutely. And even at this stage of the game, even as a guy who, let's be honest, in his years in the league, 15th year in the league now for him, unbelievable career already, 90 career sacks. Like, he is a guy who is probably Hall of Very Good worthy, you'd think, and they will miss him, but they have a lot of pass rush rotation with Wentz in the gun at 5 wide. He is on the sideline, changes up front, stamps his foot, gets the ball. Wentz tries to let the play develop downfield, finds Jefferson downfield, past the 40-yard line, down to the 35-yard line of the Pittsburgh Steelers. There's the chunk play they desperately needed, and that'll be a first down Minnesota in Steelers territory, Simon.
And they're hurrying up. Chuck Clark was playing about 30 yards off the line of scrimmage there, and Wentz was able to layer that ball over Peyton Wilson's head and in front of Clark for the big pickup.
Cam Hayward is in the medical tent. He headed straight there.
One back in the backfield, and that's Cam Akers now in with Carson Wentz under centre. Jalen Naylor goes in motion. They fake the handoff. Naylor is available on the check down, but he ends up having to throw it away because he's got Nate Herbig in his face. And once again, Deshaun Elliott, who has been absolutely playing like his hair is on fire this entire game, gets right in Wentz's face as he has to throw that ball away.
So this offseason, when they traded Minkah Fitzpatrick away, it was not the first time that I heard from people in Pittsburgh that I believe the coaches thought Deshaun Elliott played better football last year than Minkah Fitzpatrick. Their confidence in Elliott was part of the reason they made that trade.
So ball at the 35-yard line of the Steelers, 2nd and 10, 9:08 left in the fourth quarter. The Vikings have to have something on this drive. The Steelers defense desperate to put this one to bed. Again, playing deep coverage on this near side, and he has to just go short to TJ Hawkinson, who rumbles forward, falls forward, gets the first down to the 22-yard line. But you were saying it, the off coverage there. You saw, I think, dropping back on that play. Looked like Brandon Eccles dropped about 40 yards further back again at the start of the play.
Yeah, and the Vikings had to keep Xavier Scott in there as extra protection because Wentz is just getting hit on almost every snap now.
Wentz with a back alongside him in the backfield might have the check down available, goes over the middle to TJ Hawkinson. It's at maybe 6 on the play, gets down to the 16-yard line. I think they're going to call it the 17 of the Pittsburgh Steelers, and they're in the red zone again, where today they are 0 of 2 and had struggles settling for field goals. They need something now.
I gotta say, I know the score is not going to flatter him, but Carson Wentz has taken 13 quarterback hits, 6 sacks. He's been a little unlucky. He has stood in there and is competing as well as you could expect a backup to do.
Yeah, incredibly tough performance from Carson Wentz. Neither interception necessarily on him, both tipped to the line of scrimmages. He has pressure in his face again, goes for the check down, throws the ball a little bit wobbly and a little bit low. And of course that was going to happen just after we praised him. He has probably his worst throw of the game.
TJ Watt's get off on that play was astonishing. I mean, he was past Justin Schooler, before he could blink. It was unbelievable.
3rd down, the sun comes out on the stand on the far side from us here at Croke Park, Dublin. Ball is at the 16-yard line. 3rd and 3 for the Minnesota Vikings. 7:56 on the clock already, taken 3.5 minutes off on this drive. Wentz in the gun, 5 wide with Jefferson and his running back out to the right-hand side. 3 to the left, stomps his feet, looks for the ball, brings Xavier back in line. Patrick Green shows pressure, then drops out. Wentz is under pressure, has to scramble, goes for the end zone. Touchdown! Touchdown! Justin Jefferson in the back of the end zone. In fact, it's not Justin Jefferson, it's Xavier Scott. It's Xavier Scott on that far side. Touchdown, Xavier Scott. I just assumed on that deep route it was going to be Justin Jefferson, and instead it's the running back who is having himself a day.
Look, I'm going to give you all the credit in the world because you called that a touchdown before the officials even did. You saw it from up here, and that was the old Carson Wentz making a play out of structure.
I think he's out of bounds, Will. I think his right foot is on the line.
We're going to have to see a close-up of that because that is toe tapping right on the line. This game would desperately love to have had a touchdown with 7:50 remaining in the game. They were already set up for the 2-point conversion because they have to go for 2 on at least one of these 3 touchdowns if they get 3.
I'd never been so pleased to have watched some Vikings preseason games. Xavier Scott was great in those games.
I think it's down in bounds. I think that's in bounds. Absolutely sensational, Xavier Scott. And Carson Wentz is now lined up, brings Jordan Mason in alongside him. Big 2-point conversion. Jefferson goes from right to left. Wentz, just a single step drop back, goes to the back of the end zone. Jalen Naylor rules him down. 2-point conversion is good, and suddenly a 10-point game with 7:50 remaining looks a lot better for the Minnesota Vikings.
Hats off to Carson Wentz on that drive. I mean, Xavier Scott lands like a butterfly with sore feet to get inbounds. I thought he had his foot on the line. He clearly didn't. And then Wentz stands tall in the pocket, finds Jalen Naylor for the 2 points. So that's a great drive, Greg.
A really good job by Naylor too, and they still have a long way to go in this game. But when you think about this season for the Minnesota Vikings, these are the sort of supplementary players they are going to need contributions from. And I actually think their offense in terms of the passing game has done well enough. It's really been their defense and their running game that's let them down.
Can the Vikings defense get the stop that they need? Maybe the turnover that they need to make this a game late. 7:50 remaining live. An exclusive Irish NFL action on talkSPORT 2. NFL live on talkSPORT 2. The Pittsburgh Steelers 24, the Minnesota Vikings 14. Oasis will play the last of their run of shows in the UK tonight at Wembley Stadium as Live Forever rings around this stadium. And I hate to do it, guys, but I think today will live forever in the memory of everyone here.
So bad. So bad. I'm sorry, Greg. I'm embarrassed for you.
Kickoff will be brought out by Kenneth Gainwell. Cuts to the 30, down to the 35-yard line. Nice return out to the 35 for the Pittsburgh Steelers, and that's where Aaron Rodgers will start this drive. Up 10, 7:46 remaining. I don't imagine we're going to see anyone try and reinvent the wheel here, Greg.
No, I think it's going to be run and hopefully get into a favorable third down if they even get that far. The way they've been running the ball, you can see their heavy personnel package is back on the field as just the last bit of sunlight in the crowd is going away. Those rain clouds have stayed away for us. It's been beautiful.
It's been an absolutely sensational day, and Aaron Rodgers has been capping it off with a pretty good performance. Rodgers under centre. Scotty Miller goes in motion. He's got two receivers to his right, but will hand off the ball to Kenneth Gainwell, who makes a little cut, gets out to the 40, down to the 45, first down Pittsburgh, all the way out to the 50, and the Minnesota Vikings defense gets gashed on the right-hand side for a big 15-yard gain.
And an excitable Aaron Rodgers chases down the field, almost to celebrate with Kenneth Gainwell, because the offensive line on the right side again, Furtado, Mason McCormack caved that Vikings line in for Gainwell to pick up that first down.
Every rushing first down is potentially another couple of minutes off the clock, and you almost don't want the chunk plays. It's like, Kenny, go down. Get 10, go down. That's fine. We'll take a first down. Right on the F of the NFL logo at midfield. Rodgers back under centre again. Gainwell behind him once more. I mean, there are like 8 guys in the offensive line at this point between the tight ends, the offensive linemen, but they do fake it. Rodgers finds Gainwell on the little check down, down to the 50, down to the 55, 42-yard line. Eventually tackled by Eric Wilson, but Rodgers under a little pressure, finds his check down and keeps the clock rolling. 6:46 remaining.
Aaron Rodgers took a shot on that play, and so we've criticized his ability to handle pressure this season. Eric Wilson was the one in on that blitz, and Rodgers stood in there, took a hit, and delivered.
6:30 remaining, clock ticking down, 2nd and 4, ball at the 44-yard line. Rodgers with Kenneth Gainwell alongside him, this time is in the gun. Darnell Washington comes out from a wide receiver position in line to block on the right. They send Ben Skoranek in motion as well, who also blocked for Kenneth Gainwell, who rumbles right up to around the line of scrimmage. They're going to maybe say he's short. He is falling forwards, but they stop him, I think, maybe half a yard short. And they're going to call that 3rd and 1 from the 41. Here's an interesting one for you. Don't get it on this down. Go for it to try and kill the game.
Yeah,
feels like the analytical decision.
I would. You've been so dominant. I just noted there that Isaac Samalu came out of the game. Shoot came off. Spencer Anderson's come in as a
actual lineman, rather than
as an actual left guard, rather than just a.
They also brought in Connor Hayward, the fullback for this play. I don't think they're getting to 4th down.
Oh, they run basically the tush push, a version of here in Dublin. If you're going to get everything an NFL game could offer, why not get the most controversial play humanly possible and see some flags fly off the back of it?
There's about 3 different. I think Scotty Miller took that snap.
Whose shoe just went up in the air? Someone's shoe just went flying. Who throws a shoe?
Broderick Jones shoved over Byron Maxwell.
The official, also the lineswoman, threw her hat in the air. She ran out of her flag, so she had to throw the hat.
I mean, maybe offsetting if we're being kind, but this goes against the Vikings again, and it's another 15 yards. The 2nd time today that they might get caught for some afters, Greg, then it's going to absolutely kill them. As the Here We Go Steelers chants ring out around historic Croke Park, the members of that offensive line, Mason McCormack, Broderick Jones and Aaron Rodgers himself, all raising their arms to the sky.
Defense, number 15. 15-yard penalty, automatic.
It's Dallas Turner. It goes on the 2nd-year man out of Bama. And that's going to move them not only a guaranteed first down, but moved the ball all the way up to probably the 24-yard line, if my maths isn't terrible. And look, it's the drive that they needed to kill this game off, even if the time off the clock hasn't been as much as they'd like. Only 2 minutes off, but they're down to the 24.
There's been a sword of Damocles hanging over the Vikings for the last couple of quarters, but it's about to drop.
Turnover or nothing, it feels like at this point, and Pittsburgh have not been coughing the ball up. Even within the game itself, the Vikings have had 2 fumbles they've recovered themselves. There was the Rodgers fumble early in the game. I'm not sure we're going to see him risking any runs at this point, as he has a heavy line, goes to Kenneth Gainwell over the right-hand side, makes one cut, out to the 15, down to the 10, taken down inside the 10-yard line, but an absolutely sensational 2-cut run as Jonathan Allen brings him down, and it's going to be first and goal from the 10.
When you have Kenneth Gainwell juking Josh Metellus out of his shoes, it's about time to call it.
Yeah, Josh Metellus one of the keys to this Brian Flores defense over the last couple of years, but absolutely today has just not had the answer in the run game at all.
The Steelers have heard all week about how good this defense is, and they are proving that they're a pretty good unit too.
Rodgers back under centre again. He's got a fullback in at this time, and he's sending a tight end in motion as well. It goes to Gainwell, left-hand side. He's tackled behind the line of scrimmage and absolutely wrestled down in on the tackle. Initially was Jonathan Bernard, and there was referees getting in and blowing some whistles and trying to avoid there being something after the play. And Minnesota taking their timeouts, 4:20 remaining on the clock, trying to give themselves any potential opportunity of still winning this game if it goes to a 13-point game and they can hold them to a field goal.
But also, Greg, if you're Aaron Rodgers in that huddle, you are saying to that team, you're saying to those offensive linemen, do not commit a stupid penalty. Do nothing that's going to put this game in any sort of jeopardy. Stay cool, stay collected, stay under control. If mistakes are going to happen, let the Vikings do it.
And they're not going to. I'm looking out on the field and I see number 88. I see number 83. I see number 80. It's just all the tight ends. They know what they're going to do. They're going to smash it.
The Irish getting behind a bit of no nay never at the 11-yard line. 2nd and 11. Aaron Rodgers back in the centre, fullback in again. This time he swapped out and Caleb Johnson is the back. He is a bruiser, he is a big fella. Look to potentially hand it to him. In fact, they fake it, go to the end zone. Ben Skoranek, he was there. He had the beating of Josh Metellus, but Aaron Rodgers just throws him slightly wide, and it'll be 3rd and 11 back at the 11.
Aaron Rodgers is furious after that play. I don't know if it's at himself or at someone else, but he is screaming out there on the field.
I thought he was late. I thought the throw was just a little bit late, but he's probably not screaming at himself.
I think it was at himself, because Skoranek had some separation there and Rodgers missed him.
Skoranek definitely had the beating of Metellus, and now Rodgers in the gun with Gainwell alongside him. 4:17 left on the clock. Stopped again with that incompletion. He sends Gainwell in motion, so essentially all but an empty set. He's going to throw. It's over the middle to Gainwell, down to the 5, down to the 4. Harrison Smith brings him down right around the 3-yard line, Kenneth Gainwell. They will take another timeout, Minnesota, and it's going to be 4th and goal at the 2. Do the Steelers do something wild, boys?
Head coach Aaron Rodgers was literally telling Chris Boswell to get back on the sideline. I am in control here. The hand signals.
I think it's the right call, though. Rodgers is so upset right now. They're taking him off the field. He's yelling that they should go for it. And I agree, because not only do you obviously put the game away, but you can set up the Vikings on a long field if they don't score the touchdown.
Right. Rodgers came off the field, got in Tomlin's face about the 25-yard line, told him the offense are staying on the field, and the offense are staying on the field. I've never seen Mike Tomlin stand down to a player in my life, let alone in this kind of situation, and yet it looks like they're going to go for it. They've moved it back to the 3 as well, so 4th and goal from the 3-yard line. You call your best 2-point play, essentially. If you get the touchdown, it's definitely game over. That's what Rodgers is thinking. Also pinning Minnesota deep, maybe, but he gets under centre. Gainwell is there. DK Metcalf to the left in single coverage. Darnell Washington goes with him. They do give it to Gainwell. Gainwell off the left. No gain initially, gets a second push down towards the line, but it's going to be short by a yard, and the Minnesota Vikings will stop the Pittsburgh Steelers a yard short of a game-winning touchdown. And now Carson Wentz, with 4:09 remaining, will need to go 99 yards, down 10 points. I mean, is this not the game of football that we wanted coming into this fourth quarter?
Should have kicked the field goal, Will.
Yeah, I mean, it's bizarre.
But why? I don't understand the play call.
I disagree with you guys. I think that was the right move. The fact that it's on the 1 yard line and you're up by 2 scores, they're in fine position. I agree the play call was maybe not inspired, but I was ready to say this is how they've won this game. They ran it with Darnell Washington to the left side of that offensive line. It didn't work out. Credit to the Vikings.
The ball is at the half-yard line. Carson Wentz is taking the snap in the end zone. Mason is there as well. How can he give himself some space? It goes to Mason, who gets out to the 5, down to the 6. That's a nice space-clearing run for Jordan Mason, picking up 6, maybe even 7 on the play, and he'll put them in a 2nd and 3 situation. Oh, that's what that needed for the Vikings desperately.
Oh, I'd have loved a little bit of a play action, then just go back, hit the back foot, and just go deep there. But yes, that's what they needed, just a bit of space.
They're calling it 2nd and 4 now. Wentz in the gun, 5 wide again. They've seen a lot of this today from the Vikings. Looks for a quick read, instead goes to Justin Jefferson out near the 17-yard line. First down, Minnesota, and they'll try and get the ball quickly, but there is a Steeler down on the floor, looking in some trouble. It's Brandon Eccles in the game for Joey Porter today, who came on the trip but wasn't able to make it, and he's down holding his left leg, and he looks in a bit of trouble here. The staff immediately gathering around him. Injury timeout. Yeah, that's potentially a tough loss for a Steelers defense that have stood up so brilliantly all day.
I think the way that this drive started, not to go back to that decision there, kind of says why not go for it in the first place. The Vikings have already burned up about a minute of play time with 2 tough plays just to get the ball to the 20. I also like the confidence from the Steelers when they threw the ball on 3rd down. This is an offense that's trying to figure out who they are as a team. They're going to need to be better overall, and they went for the kill shot. I like a team that's aggressive.
Does give them that 1st and 10. Ball is out to the 18, 3:29 remaining. Now you start to think about just the one timeout for the Vikings at this point. Do you try and get in field goal range, kick it, give yourself the 2-minute warning as well, potentially a defensive stop, and then you've got into quick touchdown territory? I mean, obviously the ideal situation is you throw an 80-yarder to Justin Jefferson, a little bit like we saw with DK Metcalf earlier. But taking that off the board, like, those kind of decisions have to be starting to be made in Kevin O'Connell's head now.
The one thing that will concern Kevin O'Connell is they've only got 1 timeout. 2 timeouts really with the 2-minute warning, but 1 timeout left. They need a scoring play before the 2-minute warning.
Brandon Eccles coming off the field. He will be replaced in the game by Juan Thornhill coming in. The free safety is sitting deep in like a 2-deep safety look with him and Chuck Clark. That big high shell that they're showing. And Darius Slay playing off the left corner with James Pierre right up on the line of scrimmage. Carson Wentz back to throw. Deep! He has a man! Jordan Addison at the 50, down to the 40. He's tiptoeing inbounds. 20, 15, 10, 5, tripped up at the 1-yard line. And what a potential game-saving play by Peyton Wilson of all people. Absolutely shut that down. But it was exactly what we said. The big shot play. And as the clock is rolling at 3 minutes remaining, they're going to have 1st and goal at the 1. What a swing.
What a swing. Peyton Wilson ran down a 185-pound wide receiver. Unbelievable.
Wentz hands off to Mason. Mason off the right side, tackled in the back field by a hyped-up Patrick Queen again, who pounds his chest to the sky. And now the clock continues to roll. 2:40 remaining.
And this is
the
where
Vikings need to get this off quick.
Yeah, Wentz's inexperience running this offense. Everyone's a little tired from running down the field. It just shows what a tackle, what an important play that was by Peyton Wilson.
3-yard line. Wentz in the gun. Hockenson and Addison to his right. Jefferson and Naylor to his left. Mason alongside him in the backfield. He has a man over the middle. He goes to Naylor. Ball's up in the air, and Naylor's unable to catch it on the tip drill. James Pierre into the game for Brandon Eccles, making the play, and there'll now be 3rd and goal at the 2.
That's a great play by James Pierre. He was manned up. James Pierre was manned up one-on-one against Justin Jefferson on the big play to Addison. You called it, Will. You said maybe they'll have an 80-yard touchdown. They get a 75-yard pickup. Unbelievable.
So, 2:16 remaining. Need that score before the 2-minute warning in an ideal situation. Wentz in the gun, Mason there as well. Croke Park getting incredibly loud. Nobody is out of this stadium, but also nobody is in their seat. Wentz fakes the handoff to Mason. Quick throw to Naylor. Broken up by the Pittsburgh Steelers defense. It's Juan Thornhill in on the breakup, and now it's going to be 4th and goal for the game.
I keep going back to that play by Addison and Peyton Wilson. Now, Addison did stumble at one point while he's running down the field. That helped Wilson get it. And now you have one play to keep the game alive. What do the Vikings call here?
Back-to-back sensational plays by rotational defensive backs.
Yeah, absolutely. Big players coming in and making big plays. Wentz in the gun. It's so loud here in Croke Park. I can barely hear myself think. Carson Wentz goes to hand it off to Jordan Mason. Instead rolls out. He's got space. Naked boot. Jalen Naylor. Touchdown Minnesota Vikings. 2:08 remaining on the rollout. Naylor gets in the end zone, and that is the key thing. It was before the 2-minute warning.
Never tell Carson Wentz that the game is over. It's alive. Never tell him the play is over. His first read was taken away there. Stayed calm, got the score.
Patrick Queen absolutely killing himself for that play, going off the field, screaming at himself, livid that he let him get open there. And now we'll have the extra point.
That was the longest RPO I think I've ever seen in my life.
Right, extra points to make it a 3-point game. Rijkaard, ball's down, snap is good, hold is good, ball is up through the uprights, and suddenly 24-21 from 3 scores down. The Minnesota Vikings are right back in this game. 2:08 remaining, 2-minute warning, 1 timeout for Minnesota. The big call here is, do you go for the onside, or do you try and kick it short of the end zone and pin them deep?
You could also think about kicking it into the end zone, which hurts your field position, but there's 2:08 on the clock. If the Steelers take it out and the play lasts longer than 8 seconds, that's going to be part of the equation. Ultimately, I do think you kick it in the field of play and you kick it deep.
Yeah, I agree with Greg. I would kick it deep and just, because a fumble, anything could happen at this point. The momentum is massive that you just don't know what could happen. 2:08 to go.
Now, this is where the new kickoff rule looms so large, because if you had a kicker like Josh Carty of the Rams, who's gotten really good at those line drive kicks, you'd feel great about doing that. We really haven't seen that be an effective strategy for the Vikings today.
So against the Minnesota Vikings in week 1, Kairos Santos failed to kick the ball out the back of the end zone. They brought it out, and it cost them the 2-minute warning and cost them a potential to win the game. What he could have done is kicked it out of bounds, accepted it go to the 40 because of the extra 5 yards, but accept that that's the starting field position. They do look like they're lining up for the onside, though.
We saw it on Thursday night as well with the Cardinals. If you are going to kick it away, make sure you kick it into that landing zone.
It's going to be an onside kick, though.
Okay, Will Rijkaard with everything on him.
DK Metcalf at the 50 here.
Yeah, DK Metcalf. We've got Hans team in, Scotty Miller and DK Metcalf in. Plenty of those receivers. Roman Wilson in the game as well. Looking like he's going to kick it to this left-hand side. He looks to get it to bobble up in the air, and the play is waved off just before it happens. A Steelers timeout called by Mike Tomlin. They wanted to see exactly what kind of onside kick they were going to try. It's the one time I think icing the kicker is acceptable.
I don't, because that wasn't that great an onside kick. I don't think he was aware that the play had stopped, but Danny Smith, their special teams coordinator, he's a lot smarter than me, so is Mike Tomlin. They must have seen something there that they wanted to adjust.
Right, they are huddled up at the 50-yard line and the 35 of the Vikings.
So I like the decision to onside kick. Obviously, you have the chance to get it. You get the advantage of the 2-minute warning. You got to get a 3-and-out anyways. and if you can stop them with the 3 and out, you do get the ball back ultimately. Possibly needing 6, but possibly not if you stop them right away.
But also possibly needing to go 90 yards instead of, if you stop them deeper, going 50 or 60 yards. Like, all of that field position has to come into it as well. It's a difficult decision. I think ultimately maybe the right one. But on this side, Darnell Washington, Scotty Miller, Roman Wilson, DK Metcalf, all the receivers in the game on this right-hand side, as Will Reichard goes to look for a bobble up again. It gets past the 10-yard line. It's fallen on by Roman Wilson at the 50, and the onside kick attempt as bad the second time as it was the first. So the Vikings will have the 2-minute warning, a timeout, and the Pittsburgh Steelers will be starting at around the 48-yard line of the Vikings.
A Steelers field goal here is not the worst case scenario if they can, even if they move into sort of Chris Boswell range and it's 4th and 1 and they kick the field goal and the Vikings get the ball back with a little bit of time left.
It's the worst case scenario because I think if they get a first down, the game's over.
Oh, without a first down though, and
well, is he kicking a 70-yarder?
Chris Boswell's one of the greats, one of the all-time
it's only
greats.
A 60. Admittedly, it's only a 60 from here.
If he gets to the 41, he's got a chance at a.
It's there. Rodgers under centre, hands it off to Gainwell. Gainwell actually gets a little gap up the middle and down to the 45. He did find a little bit of space there, got some wiggle room, and at the 2-minute warning, it's going to be 2nd and 6 with the ball at the 45-yard line. 3-point game, 2-minute warning. It's the game we all desperately wanted in Dublin, Ireland, live here on talkSPORT 2. Touching me, touching you. I know it's cheesy and I know it's overdone and I know it's at every sporting event, but man, did the crowd get into it when a bit Sweet Caroline rings out at the 2-minute warning here in Dublin, Ireland. Just 2 minutes of football left on this first ever historic game on the Emerald Isles, Gregg Rosenthal, and I can't say enough about how wonderful this whole occasion is, the hosting and everything else, and we get an exciting end to the game.
I feel like I'm in Fenway Park right now, but they've been running the ball all day. It's going to come down to, can they get 5 yards in 2 plays and end it?
Rodgers under centre, Gainwell behind him, 3 receivers to his left, his tight end goes in motion. Rodgers doesn't like what he's seeing, checking the play at the line, toying with this team. As Gainwell does get a cut to the outside, hit in the backfield by Grenard. Rodgers gets a huge block. Gainwell gets to the outside and almost gets the first down. And Rodgers on Jonathan Grenard came in and smashed him off the ball. That was absolutely huge from Aaron Rodgers and got them an extra 3 or 4 yards on that play. It's still going to be short of the first down marker by about a yard, but Aaron Rodgers getting involved in the blocking game to help free Kenneth Gainwell to the outside. Boy, you love to see it.
I mean, 21, 41, how old is he? I mean, he didn't make, he's not lead fullback here. He did enough for Gainwell to get out and now put them in a situation where it's 3rd and 1, the play of the game.
Kenneth Gainwell has touched the ball 24 times today for 124 yards. His ability to do what he did right there, get a little extra than what was blocked, has been key all day. Now he only needs 1 more yard.
3rd and 1. This is the game. 1:52 on the clock, ball on the 40. Packers break the huddle. Rodgers comes under centre. He's moving players around immediately. Darnell Washington to the right. He doesn't like what he's seeing. It's essentially goal line defence from the Vikings with Gainwell in the backfield. And we're going to see a timeout called by the Pittsburgh Steelers. They knew how important this was. Rodgers didn't like what he saw the moment he came to the line there. Immediately started moving guys around and eventually they called the timeout.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure Mike Tomlin, you just want to make sure that everything is perfect. You don't want a false start. You don't want, if they don't get it as well, let's say they get stuffed here and it's 4th and 1. There's a massive decision. We were talking about in the break. There's a massive decision. Do you kick the field goal to go 6 up? Do you punt and make them go 90, 95, 98 yards? Or do you just try and go for it on 4th down and finish the game? It's the game within the game, the chess match that's happening here, and Tomlin just wants to make sure that everything is perfect before they snap the ball.
No timeouts remaining for either team. 1:52 on the clock. A first down ices this for the Pittsburgh Steelers. A stop for the Vikings. Things get very, very interesting. Rodgers under centre. Gainwell behind him. Washington in motion from left to right. It is given to Gainwell. Gainwell hit right at the line to gain. They're saying he's short. The judge coming in on this side is right at the line of gain. I think we might be in for another measurement here, because that is incredibly, incredibly tight as to whether he gained the first down. Where they've spotted the ball, he is short by about half a yard here.
4.5 yard.
And that's what they're calling it, 4.5 yard. Huge stop by the Vikings defense if this game is going to go the distance.
That was an incredible play by Jonathan Allen, because I was watching the interior of that offensive line, and most of them pushed the Vikings defensive line forward. They're going for it here on fourth.
They do go for it on fourth. Rodgers come under centre, maybe trying to draw him offside. He calls in his helmet. He's looking to the left. He's to the right. He stands up away from the play and takes a walk away from it. I think they're going to accept the delay of game and the 5 yards. They were just trying to draw them offside, and instead Rodgers will leave the field, and it won't be down to the Steelers offense. There is a coming together at midfield of the officials. Let's hear what Brad Allen has to say about this one. He's taking his time. Come on, Brad. We know there's a call to be made here. They have moved the ball back 5 yards, so it did go delay of game in the end. Trying to draw the offside.
I hate that. Mike Tomlin is one of the coaches that is least likely to go for fourth downs in big spot. You need a yard to go win the game, and you bring your punter out only up 3.
Corliss Waitman at the 45 just absolutely smashes it out the back of the end zone.
Punts it out the back of the end zone.
He had only one plan there, which was to nail this as far as it could go. And the Minnesota Vikings now have 1 minute and 1 second remaining. We'll be getting the ball at the 20-yard line. 80 yards, a minute and a second for Carson Wentz to do something really, really special here.
I don't understand anything that's just happened in the last 90 seconds, Greg.
Mike Tomlin blinked. You have been able to push the Vikings forward all day long. You need a foot. Make a statement. Believe in your offense. I love the Vikings' chances here going down to get 3 points.
It is loud in the stadium though. Not a seat has emptied in Croke Park with Wentz in the gun. Mason alongside him. He's looking for a quick development play down the left-hand side. He goes to Naylor. Almost picked up. Is it picked up? Drop and taken in. Steelers turnover! Steelers turnover! The place goes absolutely wild, and James Pierre, who made the huge play on the goal line earlier, takes the ball away from the Pittsburgh Steelers and gives them the victory in Dublin that their history with this country deserved, that the fans here believed in, and 24-21 will be how this one ends, and it's thanks to the Steelers defense once again.
That's why Mike Tomlin's going to the Hall of Fame. He trusted his defense. All the fans and the broadcasters that wanted him to go for it, he says, go make a play against Carson Wentz. That's what James Pierre did.
The play is under review. The Vikings in this game have outgained the Steelers, 349 yards to 314. Time of possession they have had, but the 2 turnovers already in this game have absolutely killed them. Is this a third turnover? Is this the end of the game, or did he step a foot out of bounds first? Right foot is down with possession. Left foot is down. I think that's an exception. Are they saying they don't know if he has control of the ball?
The ball
it's
is
kind
up
of pinned
sort of his
against his shoulder.
Yeah. I mean, I'm the wrong guy to be asking after Xavier.
Wow. Well, I apologise. I feel like I spent every last ounce of energy I had on that call. And now we've got another 57 seconds and 80 yards potentially for Carson Wentz to go. If overtime comes here, I might not get out of Dublin. I might just have to stay here.
I just love that this crowd is getting this game as the first Dublin game. It was 24-6 not too long ago. We didn't know if we would have much drama. This is suited and fitting for the first ever game in Dublin.
Carson Wentz can't be late again like that, Will. He was late on that throw. That's why it was almost picked off. He can't do that again.
Yeah, absolutely right. And he had Naylor much earlier in that route, and for a big play as well. Okay, Jefferson to the left with Jordan Allison. Naylor to the right, brings Xavier in line back to block. going downfield. Carson Wentz, 3-step drop, goes over the middle, looking for again. There is a flag in the defensive backfield in the area of defensive holding, and it is going to go against the Pittsburgh Steelers.
Yeah, it was early in the route as well. That was a great throw. That was a great throw, but it was clearly holding early in the route.
Defense number 6. 5-yard penalty, automatic. First down.
It goes against Patrick Queen, number 6. It is only a 5-yard penalty for defensive holding. It takes another 3 seconds off the clock, but it does give them a first down. Now it's 75 yards in 54 seconds.
Yeah, that's a costly drop by Xavier Scott. Look, it's a running back essentially running a wide receiver pattern. He got open, but Wentz hit him on the hands. He couldn't bring it in.
All right, here we go. Vikings in the huddle. They break. 14 remaining on the play clock. Down to 10. Wentz in the gun, Xavier Scott alongside him, 3 receivers to the right, TJ Hockenson to his left. He sends a man in motion, Jordan Addison. The Steelers maybe came off the line a little quick, but Wentz stays up, goes out the right side. Herbig hits him. There was a flag down on the far side of the field, right at the 25-yard line.
It was holding. Schooler pulls down TJ Watt.
Offside, TJ Watt. I saw it at the time. I said he went early, but how late was that flag? TJ Watt clearly went early, but that flag was so late in the play. Absolutely unbelievable. Offside stops the clock. 1st and 5, 48 seconds. Now 70 yards. A field goal required. 70 yards for a touchdown. Where are we aiming for? Well, does Will Rijkaard need it in order to nail a field goal to tie this game up and send us to overtime?
I think he's a 60-yard kicker.
It's a big leg. It's a big leg. Brings Sealer back, Xavier Scott, back inside. Wentz on the drop back, pressure off his right. He goes over the middle, finds Xavier out to the left-hand side, outside the numbers, gets out of bounds. Key at the 40, stops the clock, and there's 43 seconds remaining out to the 39-yard line of the Vikings. This is getting dangerous for Pittsburgh now.
So I think the question for Mike Tomlin and the Steelers is, are you going to send extra pressure? They did on the first play of this drive, not on the last 2. They need TJ Watt and Nate Herbig to step up, just win their one-on-one matchups, but they didn't on that play. They haven't a couple times here.
Carson Wentz in the gun, 5 wide again. It's the most I've seen the Vikings run this kind of formation in living memory. Brings Xavier Scott back into a stack behind Jordan Addison. Steps back. He does have pressure from Nate Herbig. Herbig has hold and throws the ball away, but it's nowhere near the line of scrimmage. No one in the area. Every chance that he's going to get a flag for intentional grounding there. They're going to have a conversation about it, and down the flag goes. Intentional grounding it will be.
Nate Herbig did it, and the Vikings still have a chance here. It's going to be 2nd and very long with 37 seconds left, but a sack essentially kills you in that space, and Nate Herbig with a great move on the inside.
The noise.
It also includes a 10-second runoff.
Yeah, 10-second runoff on top of it. So that goes down to 27 seconds as we wait for them to update the clock.
10-second runoff.
All right. It was the Steelers defense turning up the ball.
3 sets again to 28. The 10-second runoff will go from 38 to 28. The clock will start on my signal.
So the clock will go on the ref signal. It's back up to 28 seconds. We wait for them to move away from the snap. Wentz is ready. The offense is ready. The ball is at the 23-yard line. It's 2nd and 26. Brad Allen's still trying to tell everyone what's going on, but no one can hear him over the PA here. It's so loud from the Steelers fans. 2nd and 26, ball at the 23. Wentz dropping back, pressure over the middle. He finds TJ Hockenson out to the 35, tackled at the 36-yard line, goes down, but the clock is running. 20 seconds remaining. Wentz runs up, telling them to spike it. It will be short of the first down yardage. 14 seconds. And the ball goes down, and they spike it on 3rd and 13, and they're going to have a 4th and 14 with the ball on the 36 in a must-have-it play. And you've got to either get out of bounds or find 20 yards and then go and spike the ball. This is wild.
That was a terrible decision by Carson Wentz. He's been game here, but that ultimately is a mistake that a veteran quarterback can't make. You cannot throw that pass.
And they're still saying 3rd down on the screens around here. Oh, it's gone to 4th down now. I did have no idea why it was still showing that. I'm like, sure, he just spiked the ball. Anyway, 4th and 12, ball on the Steelers defense with another opportunity to win this game. 24-21. The crowd is on its feet. The terrible towels are wailing. The Vikings can't get the play off, and they're going to lose another 5 yards to a delay of game.
Astonishing. I mean, procedural penalties at a moment like this is just, I mean, the noise is insane. It is insane. It must be impossible to hear.
I can't believe that the Dublin Steelers crowd is helping the Steelers win this game, but they've been difference makers.
The defense has been sensational. The offense has got it done today, but it could be this crowd that finally wins this game of football. 4th and 17 on the 32. Carson Wentz, 5-step drop back, letting things develop. Goes downfield, looking for a receiver, doesn't make it at the 50. Pass broken up, and the Pittsburgh Steelers this time will come away from Dublin with a victory. 24-21, and Deshaun Elliott, you deserve the game ball, you deserve the MVP, you deserve the man of the match. He's been sensational today, and he breaks up the pass to break Vikings' hearts.
All we heard all week long was how good the Vikings defense were. Brian Flores' defense, Terrell Austin's defense took that personally. They've shown up today. They've helped win this game. Massive performance from the Steelers defense.
Deshaun Elliott was great throughout the game. Carson Wentz, I was wondering if they were going to go for a big shot up the middle of the field, then try to spike it. Ultimately, I think he threw that a little bit early to Jordan Addison, and Deshaun Elliott called game.
The greatest formation in all of football is victory formation, as Aaron Rodgers takes a knee at the 32-yard line. The bench is empty, the clock ticks down to 0, and the Steelers crowd go absolutely buck wild here in Dublin, Ireland. The quarterbacks meet at midfield. Aaron Rodgers with his helmet off, a little bit of chat going on with him and Jonathan Grenard at midfield, but plenty of handshakes. And what an absolute spectacle these two teams put on for us in Dublin, Ireland. Going into the fourth quarter, the Steelers had what looked like an unassailable lead over this Vikings team. What a gutsy performance from Carson Wentz and this team to come back in this game, but eventually it wasn't enough. The Steelers defense, 2 turnovers on the day, stood up and made it count. The Steelers offense moved the ball brilliantly. DK Metcalf's 80-yarder, Kenneth Gainwell with 2 on the ground from a yard out, made the difference, and the Pittsburgh Steelers come to Dublin with all of their history with Ireland, with everything with the Rooney family, going back to, as we talked about right at the beginning of the game, winning this team in a card game in 1933. They said it in their hype video before this game. This isn't a visit, it's a return ticket, and the Steelers feel like they've been at home all day today.
Well, they're going to come back. The NFL is coming back to Dublin, and I bet the Steelers will be raising their hands and say, we'll go back too, because they had a home field advantage today, and in that last sequence, I really believe that the crowd noise, along with the frenzied defensive effort, affected the Minnesota Vikings, and they were not ready for that moment, and just as a neutral fan, am so happy that the game ended that way. I'm sure Steelers fans don't love that they had to sweat it out, but ultimately they got to see in Dublin the best that NFL has to offer. A lot of offensive plays, defensive plays, strategic decisions, some boneheaded penalties. Like, it had a little bit of everything, and I'm just so glad that they got to see a great show today.
Yeah, if you're the Rooney family, if you're the NFL commissioner, if you're the people that work so hard to get the game here, you're leaving here thinking we could not have had a better 3-4 hours than we've just had. The excitement, the entertainment, the game came down to the wire, fantastic, and the crowd were just mind-blowing.
Look, guys, as we wrap up for today, to hand over to the team back in London to head down to what's going to be a raucous Steelers locker room. I wonder if Aaron Rodgers will have his Guinness in hand already by the time that we get down there. Just final thoughts, first of all from you, Greg, on everything you've seen this week and what a wonderful event this has been.
Yeah, we've talked a lot about what this game means to Dublin and what an incredible atmosphere I also think this game could mean a lot for the Pittsburgh Steelers season. 3-1 now. They pushed the Vikings around for much of this game. They established who they wanted to be, and I do think when the Steelers look back later in this season, they might look at this as a pivotal game in terms of establishing their identity. What a day for Irish American football.
Temple Bar's going to be wild tonight.
Crazy.
Absolutely wild. Simon?
Yeah, I think Gregg's right. We talked about it before the game. Identity. That was so important. I thought this was an identity game, and we leave this knowing exactly what the Steelers, I think, have to do moving forward. They found the defense, and they found, more importantly, an offensive system that works for them.
Honestly, I don't think I can sum up the last 2 days, and I'm terrified about what tonight's going to look like. As we see Rondé Barber and Colleen Wolfe doing a jig on the big screen down there to the band. The crowd starting to empty out of here, but heading down into Dublin city centre. It's been a wonderful city. It's been a wonderful host so far. The game itself was electric. The fans were sensational. And as Commissioner Goodell said yesterday, the NFL will be back in Dublin, Ireland. A reminder to check out our talkSPORT USA YouTube channel. I'd like to head down to the Steelers locker rooms, chat to some of the players. You'll get to see those interviews very shortly on the channel. So like, subscribe, keep across all the great content. I have seen some of your comments coming in on the live stream. Sorry we didn't get to them. It was just such a wild game. But we really appreciate everyone who watched, everyone who commented throughout the game today. And as we say farewell to Dublin, we look forward to London. The Minnesota Vikings with a chance to bounce back. Their first ever loss in an international game. 4-1 now. They face the Cleveland Browns and that much vaunted defense after what they did to the Packers last week. Next weekend we'll be live at the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium on Sunday afternoon from 2 o'clock, and it's a busy few weeks as the NFL touches down in the UK. But the NFL action on talkSPORT 2 is only just getting started this evening. At 9:05 the Jaguars face the 49ers, while on Sunday Night Football Micah Parsons goes quote-unquote home. I'm pretty sure he thinks he has a new home in Green Bay, but he goes to Jerry World. We'll have that for you with Ollie Hunter live from 1 a.m. But before all of that, Ben Isaacs, Dom Corbett, Gav Anderson and the rest of the team will take you around all of these 6 o'clock kickoffs. Some Barnstormers in there as well. Bucks Eagles coming up in just a few minutes' time. It's going to be brilliant. It's goodbye from us here at Croke Park on talkSPORT 2, where it finished the Pittsburgh Steelers 24, the Minnesota Vikings 21, and the Steelers left Ireland with the victory.